It was a beautiful, serene day. My sweet daughter held my hand, looking up at me with a bright smile. My loving husband stood beside me, and I felt a deep sense of contentment. But that blissful moment was interrupted when I saw him. "Hey, long time no see," he sneered. It had been years since I'd seen Ian, my ex-husband. He approached us with a smirk that I knew all too well. "Did you have a baby? At your age? An old woman like you." "If I were your age, I wouldn't even think about becoming a mother." "That's none of your business. Leave us alone," I said firmly, trying to walk away. But Ian blocked my path, his eyes raking over me in a way that made my skin crawl. Then, as if he couldn't hold it in any longer, he burst into cruel laughter. "You're old, you know that? How disgusting. And you," he said, turning to my husband, "you're her new husband. You must be out of your mind if you don't know what's good for you. I can't believe you married this old hack." His insults seemed endless. My patience wore thin, and I felt my fists clench in anger. But before I could react, my husband, Wesley, who had been standing calmly beside me, spoke up. "Ian, right?" Wesley said, his voice steady. "Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. You've given us a lot to consider, and you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. I am Quinn. I met and married Ian while working at a company where he was a section manager, my subordinate. After we got married, I was eager to start a family, but at 34, I struggled to conceive, so I turned to infertility treatments. It was a long, challenging journey, but at 38, I finally became pregnant. The joy of knowing I would become a mother was overwhelming. It was my first pregnancy, and I was aware of the risks at my age. Still, I juggled work and preparing for the arrival of our child with determination and hope. I had countless worries, but the joy and happiness of finally carrying the child I had long dreamed of outweighed them all. I was filled with anticipation, believing I would create a happy family with my child and Ian. But Ian wasn't as sure. Fertility treatments were expensive, and I spent most of my pre-marriage savings on them. The side effects often left me physically unwell, making it difficult to maintain the same workload I had before marriage. So I decided to change jobs. The job change meant my salary was cut in half, but it allowed me to work less and focus more on the fertility treatments with a clear mind. However, Ian grew distant. The truth was, Ian had been attracted to me because I was ambitious and earning well before we got married. There was no sign of marriage in my future at the time, and I was on the path to success at work. He noticed my financial stability, which was his main reason for marrying me. When I told him I wanted to have a baby and subsequently changed jobs to focus on the treatment, Ian was unforgiving. He couldn't accept the shift in our circumstances and the cost of the fertility treatments. Eventually, he handed me divorce papers and left. I was stunned at how quickly our marriage fell apart, but I knew I had to be strong for the child I was carrying. I had to raise her well, even on my own. I explained my situation to my company and worked tirelessly. With the support of my parents, I managed to give birth to my child. When I finally held my baby girl in my arms, I felt like the happiest person in the world. Tears of joy streamed down my face, but the only one happier than me was my new husband, Wesley. I had met Wesley as a business partner at my former company. We had a good professional relationship, and he was genuinely disappointed when I resigned. A while later, we crossed paths again at my current company, where we once again became business partners. Wesley knew about my struggles and was always kind and concerned about me. We had always thought well of each other, and it wasn't long before our connection deepened into something more personal. Before my daughter's birth, I remarried Wesley, and the next few years were filled with happiness. Wesley adored my daughter, Ruby, even though she wasn't his biological child. His care for her was almost overprotective. After I gave birth and fell ill, Wesley insisted that I take it easy. He took on most of the housework and cared for Ruby with a tenderness that showed just how much he cared for both of us. One day, we decided to take a walk in the nearby park. The weather was perfect, and Ruby fell asleep soon after we arrived. As we strolled through the park, I noticed a familiar figure walking ahead. My heart sank. I quickly took Wesley's arm, trying to steer us in the opposite direction, but it was too late. The person had already noticed us and was approaching with a smirk and a nasty smile. "Long time no see," he said. I recognized the voice immediately. "Ian, long time." "Did you have a baby?" he asked, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "Yeah. Got a problem with that?" No, I'm just wondering how an old woman like you could be a mother. That's none of your business. Leave us alone, I replied, trying to remain calm. But Ian blocked my way, his gaze sweeping over me with a look of contempt. Then, as if unable to hold back, he burst into cruel laughter. You're too old to be a mother. It's disgusting. His words seemed endless, and when he glanced into the stroller, his sneer deepened. Your kid, she's ugly just like you. Don't you dare say another word, I warned, my voice trembling with anger. I could tolerate insults directed at me, but when someone mocked my child, it was too much to bear. Ian narrowed his eyes in amusement as I took a step forward. Before I could say anything, he quickly shifted his gaze to the side, locking eyes with Wesley, who stood right beside me. I can't believe anyone would marry this old hag, Ian sneered, and she's got a kid with someone else too. Really, stop it, I snapped. It's got nothing to do with you. Ian ignored me, his smirk growing as he continued. Well, Gwen, you made a lot of money. That's all you were ever worth. Without that, there's no reason anyone would want to be with you. My ex-husband then turned his attention fully to Wesley, inching closer with a devilish grin. In this world, everything is about profit and lust, brother. Only fools who don't understand that end up like Quinn here, quitting her job to have a child. Those who don't get the game of profit and loss are destined to fail. You'd better watch out too, Mr. New Husband. Maybe you're the kind of person who doesn't understand profit and loss either, marrying someone like Quinn. Ian's loud, mocking laughter echoed through the peaceful park. His words, spoken in front of me, my child, and Wesley, were unbearable. I clenched my fists, unable to tolerate it any longer, and was about to confront him when Wesley, who had been silently observing the situation, gently restrained me. Quinn, wait. Calm down, Wesley said softly. Wesley, I can't stay silent after being told something like that. I protested. I understand how you feel, he replied, his voice calm and steady, but violence isn't the answer. Wesley smiled at me reassuringly, and I slowly lowered my fist. Quinn, he asked gently, do you know this gentleman? He used to be one of my subordinates at the company I worked for. I replied, deliberately leaving out the fact that Ian was my ex-husband. I didn't want to admit that I had once been married to such a horrible person, but Wesley already seemed to understand. He smiled knowingly and nodded in understanding. So it was you, Wesley said calmly, then turned to me. Quinn, take care of Ruby for me, okay. He handed me the stroller and stepped forward, positioning himself between us and Ian. Wesley looked directly at Ian, his usual soft smile never wavering. Ian, right? Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. You're absolutely right. Profit and loss are very important, not just financially, but also when it comes to the people in our lives. Sometimes it's wise to think in those terms. What you said is reasonable and important. Ian, misinterpreting Wesley's words, grinned even wider. Well, you're not as stupid as I thought you were. Then you shouldn't be with Quinn, you know better. He shot me a smug glance, then put his hand on Wesley's shoulder, assuming he had found an ally. But Wesley brushed Ian's hand away, continuing calmly. You know my father owns a business, and in business, calculating profit and loss is crucial. That's why I'll definitely share what you said today with him. Ian, still not grasping the situation, asked with a hint of curiosity, Is your father present? If you want, I can talk to him directly, Ian offered, his eyes lighting up with the prospect of a potential opportunity. It was obvious he still craved money and status, despite the way he had just mocked me. I was beyond amazed at how quickly he could shift his demeanor when he saw a chance to gain something. I know you're probably busy, Ian, so I'll let my father know. I'm sure he'll be in touch with you soon, Wesley replied smoothly. Well then, I'll leave you alone for today, Ian said, clearly satisfied with himself. With that, Wesley gently took Ruby and me by the hand and led us away. As we walked past Ian, he glanced down at me with a look that almost resembled pity. I couldn't help but feel a small pang of it for him as well, knowing that Wesley's offer wasn't what Ian imagined. Ian's naivety in taking it at face value was almost admirable. What Ian didn't realize was that Wesley's father was the president of a company that held significant sway over the firm Ian worked for. Wesley, although not working in his father's company at the moment, was gaining experience in the business world on his own. This was likely why Ian had no idea who Wesley really was. I had only learned about Wesley's background just before we got married, and his parents had been nothing but kind to me. When they found out I was pregnant with my ex-husband's child, they didn't reject me. Instead, they supported me through the challenges of raising Ruby, and Ruby quickly grew attached to them. It was heartwarming to see them play together, forming a bond that only deepened over time. If my father-in-law had heard what Ian said today, I knew there would be serious consequences. And as expected, the very next day, Ian went to work, only to be summoned by his furious boss. The president of the company, who happened to be my father-in-law, had personally complained to Ian's boss, calling him out by name. My father-in-law, well aware of the circumstances surrounding our divorce, was outraged. He wasted no time in making a phone call to Ian's superior, emphasizing Ian's poor attitude and the importance of properly educating employees. Ian had no idea what was coming, and it was clear he had underestimated the situation entirely. My son told me that one of your employees lectured him about the importance of profit and loss. You should carefully consider how much profit or loss you might incur from one person's mistake, my father-in-law had said to Ian's boss. When Ian's boss confronted him, Ian finally realized the gravity of the situation and decided to call me. "Hello, Quinn. I'm sorry," came Ian's voice over the phone. I was taken aback by the unexpected apology. I knew he might reach out eventually, but I hadn't expected it to happen so soon. The urgency in his voice was clear as he continued to apologize repeatedly. "I'm really sorry. Please forgive me," he pleaded. "Forgive you?" I thought to myself. "After you mocked us like that? What's wrong?" I asked, a hint of sarcasm in my tone. "Did you hear from my father-in-law?" I could hear him choke on the other end, clearly unsettled. "Yes, he gave me your kind advice. I'm really sorry." "I apologize," Ian stammered. "I'd like to apologize to your current husband and the president in person." "Did your boss tell you to do this?" I asked, seeing right through his sudden remorse. "Yes," he admitted, sounding desperate. "I was told not to return to the company until I apologize in person and get your forgiveness. Please help me. We were married once." His voice trailed off, filled with desperation. "Please, Quinn." "Quit it." I cut him off, my voice firm. "You've only ever seen me as someone who earns good money, haven't you? Now you're getting carried away, trying to crawl back when things go wrong. You were the one who said it's all about profit and loss, right? Well, for me, it's a loss to keep you anywhere near my husband and father-in-law. Talking to someone who made fun of my daughter and my husband, it's nothing but a waste of time for me." I paused, letting the words sink in. "So, if you understand, don't call me again." No, Ian's voice grew more desperate. But I hung up before he could finish. He had said countless horrible things to me over the years, and while I might not have said everything I wanted to, at least now, I felt a small sense of satisfaction. I could only imagine the panic Ian must be feeling at this moment. Not long after, rumors about Ian's behavior began to spread throughout the industry. He had always had a tendency to look down on others, and his reputation had never been good. When we worked together, I often found myself cleaning up his messes. But after I left, there was no one to cover for him anymore, and frustrations with Ian began to build both within his company and outside it. Then this incident happened. Ian's boss was furious with him. My father-in-law's company was one of their biggest clients. In the end, Ian couldn't stay at the company and ended up quitting. Now he was struggling to find a new job. One day, I received a long email from Ian, begging me to help him find work. In one part of the email, he even wrote, "I know I said some terrible things, but I really love you, Quinn." How disgusting. I had heard rumors that after our divorce, Ian had started dating a much younger woman. But now, with no job and no prospects, he seemed lost, unable to find his way back to the life he once had. So she left him. It's true what they say, you get what you deserve. Ian kept sending me emails, insisting, "I want you to help me because it's your fault I'm in this pitiful situation," or claiming, "You should help me because I still love you." It's the very definition of karmic retribution. I've been ignoring all the emails, but lately the frequency has been increasing. I'm seriously considering blocking him altogether. Meanwhile, I'm still living a happy life with my loving husband Wesley and our daughter Ruby. Recently, Ruby has started talking, and I can't take my eyes off her. She's growing up so fast, and Wesley, my in-laws, and I are all so in love with her. I want to keep this family happy forever.
The letter trembled in my hands as the world crashed around me. $250,000. Gone. Just like that. The college fund I'd spent 17 years building for my daughter had vanished into thin air. I'm Anna, and until today, I thought I was living proof that hard work and determination could overcome anything. Starting with nothing but a food truck and a dream, I built a successful catering company that serves half of Boston's elite. Every extra penny went into Emma's future. My daughter would have opportunities I never had. Mom? Emma's voice drifted down from upstairs. Have you seen my blue sweater? Check the laundry room, honey, I called back, struggling to keep my voice steady. The acceptance letter from Stanford lay on my kitchen counter, mocking me. Emma had earned her spot. Perfect grades, volunteer work, the whole package. But now... My phone buzzed. Deborah's name flashed across the screen. My mother-in-law's timing was impeccable, as always. Anna, darling, her sugary voice made my stomach turn. I simply must know if Emma's wearing the pearl necklace I gave her to prom next week. Deborah. I cut her off, my voice ice cold. The college fund is empty. Care to explain? Silence crackled through the line. Then, oh, that. Well, there were some unexpected investments. Investments? I gripped the counter so hard my knuckles turned white. You were supposed to be managing that account for Emma's future, not gambling it away at Mohegan Sun. Don't take that tone with me, Deborah snapped. I am still your mother-in-law, and... You're my ex-husband's mother, who convinced me to let you manage Emma's college fund because of your financial expertise. Was that all a lie, too? These things happen in investing, Anna. You'll simply have to get over it. Perhaps Emma should consider community college? It would be more appropriate for your situation anyway. The line went dead. I stood there, shaking with rage, when Emma appeared in the doorway. Mom? What's wrong? I turned to face my daughter, my beautiful, brilliant girl who deserved the world. Her blue eyes, so like her father's, were filled with concern. Nothing, sweetie, I forced a smile. Just a work issue. Did you find your sweater? She nodded slowly, clearly not buying it. Are you sure? You look really upset. Actually, I hesitated. Why don't we grab coffee? There's something we need to discuss. 20 minutes later, we sat in our favorite corner booth at Joe's Cafe. Emma wrapped her hands around her caramel latte, waiting. The thing is, I took a deep breath. There's been an issue with your college fund. What kind of issue? Grandma Deborah. She was supposed to be managing it, investing it safely. But instead, my voice cracked. Emma's face paled. It's gone? All of it? I nodded, watching my daughter's dreams crumble before my eyes. I'm so sorry, baby. I trusted her and she... Does Dad know? Not yet, but he will. I reached across the table, taking her trembling hands in mine. Listen to me, Emma. This changes nothing. We'll figure it out. I'll take out loans, work double shifts, whatever it takes. You're going to Stanford. Emma pulled her hands away. I can't believe Grandma would do this. She always said... Her voice trailed off as tears welled up in her eyes. I know, honey. I know. My phone buzzed again. A text from Deborah. Don't make this into a bigger deal than it needs to be. Family should forgive family. I stared at the message, my jaw clenched. Forgive? The woman had stolen my daughter's future and had the audacity to demand forgiveness? Mom? Emma's voice was small. What are we going to do? I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. In that moment, I made a decision. Deborah thought she could manipulate and steal from us without consequences. She thought wrong. We're going to fight back, I said quietly, and we're going to win. Emma's eyes widened. What do you mean? It means, I said, pulling out my phone to call my sister Lacey, that your grandmother is about to learn a very important lesson about family and trust. As I dialed, my hands stopped shaking. Calm settled over me like a shield. Deborah had no idea what she'd started, but she was about to find out exactly what happened when you crossed the wrong mother. Lacey, I said when my sister picked up, I need your help. It's time we had a proper family reunion. Look at this, Lacey said, spreading bank statements across my dining room table. Every month, like clockwork, $5,000 transferred to an account in Atlantic City. I leaned over her shoulder, scanning the documents. And Emma's college fund? Drained gradually over 2 years. Lacey tapped her laptop screen. Deborah covered her tracks well, but she got sloppy near the end, probably desperate. My sister had always been the detail-oriented one. While I built my business, she became a forensic accountant. Now her skills were proving invaluable. There's more, she continued. Remember Cousin Peter's inheritance from Aunt Marie? The one he supposedly lost in the stock market crash? Lacey's eyes narrowed. Deborah was his financial advisor, too. The pieces were falling into place. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through recent texts. Marcel called yesterday, said Deborah's been acting strange, taking mysterious trips. To casinos, no doubt. Lacey closed her laptop. Anna, this isn't just about Emma's college fund anymore. Deborah's been stealing from the entire family. A knock at the door interrupted us. Emma burst in, followed by her friends from the volleyball team. Mom, is it okay if we have pizza here? Practice ran late and... She stopped short, taking in the papers scattered everywhere. Of course, honey. I started gathering the documents. Hi, girls, the menu drawer is in the kitchen. Thanks, Anna. They rushed past, giggling. Emma lingered, her eyes fixed on the bank statements. More bad news? Just doing some research, I said carefully. Go be with your friends. She hesitated. Mom, I know you're planning something. I'm not stupid. Emma, just don't do anything crazy, okay? She turned and followed her friends. Lacey waited until the kitchen door swung shut. She's worried about you. She should be worried about her grandmother, I muttered, pulling out my phone to show her Deborah's latest text. Looking forward to Emma's birthday dinner tomorrow? I have a special surprise planned. The nerve of that woman. Lacey shook her head. Are you still going through with it? Of course. Can't let her suspect anything's wrong. I forced a smile. Besides, the whole family will be there. Perfect opportunity to observe. The next evening, my catering company's finest setup graced Deborah's sprawling Victorian home. Emma's 18th birthday dinner was in full swing, with family members scattered throughout the house. Anna, darling, Deborah air-kissed my cheek. The food is divine, as always, though perhaps a bit simple for such a special occasion. I maintained my smile. Emma requested her favorites. Yes, well... Deborah adjusted her pearl necklace, probably bought with stolen money. Speaking of Emma's preferences, I've been thinking about her college choices. Stanford is so far away. The local university has an excellent program. Mom, Raymond, my ex-husband, called from across the room. Have you seen my wallet? Check your coat pocket, dear, Deborah called back, but I caught the flash of panic in her eyes. I excused myself and found Lacey by the dessert table. Notice anything? Besides Raymond missing his wallet? She smirked. Marcel's been watching Deborah like a hawk all evening. Think he suspects? Maybe. Did you see how she reacted when Emma opened the envelope from Stanford? Like she'd swallowed a lemon. Lacey paused. Speaking of envelopes, I got an interesting call today. Remember that tip you received? Before she could continue, a commotion erupted from the study. Raymond's voice boomed through the house. Mom, what the hell is this? We rushed to find Raymond waving a stack of papers, his face red. Deborah stood frozen by the desk. Raymond, dear, those are private. Private? These are withdrawal slips from my investment account. He turned to Marcel. Dad, did you know about this? Marcel's face went ashen. What? The room fell silent as Emma appeared in the doorway. What's going on? Nothing, sweetheart, Deborah said quickly. Just a little family discussion about finances. I watched my daughter's expression harden. She wasn't buying it anymore. Anna. Reuben, my business partner, touched my arm. Maybe we should serve the cake now? I nodded, but my mind was racing. This was just the beginning. Raymond's discovery would plant seeds of doubt, but I needed more. The family reunion next month would be my real opportunity. As we gathered around the dining table to sing Happy Birthday, I studied Deborah's face in the candlelight. Her perfect mask was cracking. Soon it would shatter completely. Emma caught my eye across the cake, her expression worried. I gave her a reassuring smile, but inside, my resolve hardened. Deborah had built her house of lies on the backs of her own family. Now it was time to watch it burn. "Make a wish, sweetheart," Deborah called out as Emma prepared to blow out her candles. I already had my wish, justice, and I was going to make it come true. "A family reunion?" Marcel's voice crackled through my phone speaker. "Now?" "It's been 5 years since the whole family got together," I said, keeping my tone light. "After everything that happened at Emma's birthday party, I think we need this." "I suppose you're right," he sighed. "We can host it here. The garden's lovely in June." Perfect. Marcel and Deborah's house was exactly where I needed this to happen. "That's so generous. I'll handle all the arrangements." "Anna." Marcel hesitated. "Have you noticed anything unusual about Deborah lately?" "Like what?" "She's been receiving strange calls, disappearing for hours, and after what Raymond found. Maybe we can talk about it at the reunion," I suggested carefully. "In person." After hanging up, I opened my laptop to check the guest list. Each invitation had been strategically planned. Cousin Peter, still bitter about his lost inheritance. Aunt Marie, who never believed his stock market story. Raymond, now questioning everything. The pieces were falling into place. My office door creaked open. Emma stood there, arms crossed. "A family reunion? Seriously?" "I thought it would be nice." "Stop." She stepped inside, closing the door. "You've been whispering with Aunt Lacey for weeks, making secret phone calls. Now this? What are you planning?" "Emma, no more lies, Mom. I deserve to know." I studied my daughter's face, so young, yet so perceptive. "Sit down." She perched on the edge of my desk, waiting. "Your grandmother didn't just take your college fund," I began. "She's been stealing from everyone. Cousin Peter, your dad, even Marcel. And the reunion is what? Your chance for revenge?" "Justice," I corrected. "She needs to face what she's done." Emma's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then held it up. "Grandma just texted me. Says she's worried about you, that you're acting erratic since the investment mishap." My blood boiled. "Investment mishap?" "Mom." Emma's voice softened. "I'm mad too. But this plotting, these secrets, it's changing you." Before I could respond, my own phone chimed. An anonymous email. "Regarding Deborah, there's more. Meet at Joe's Cafe, 3 p.m. tomorrow." "What is it?" Emma asked. I locked my screen. "Work stuff." She stood up, hurt flickering across her face. "Right, more secrets." "Emma, wait." But she was already gone, the door clicking shut behind her. The next day, I arrived at Joe's Cafe early, scanning the crowd. A man in a dark suit caught my eye and nodded toward a corner booth. "Mrs. Anna?" He extended his hand. "I'm David. I work for the State Gaming Commission." My heart raced. "Gaming Commission?" "We've been monitoring your mother-in-law's activities at several casinos. The patterns suggest a serious gambling addiction, but that's not why I'm here." He slid a folder across the table. "We've uncovered evidence of money laundering." My hands shook as I opened the folder. Bank statements, casino receipts, photographs of Deborah with known criminals. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because she's not just hurting your family anymore. We're building a case, but we need witnesses willing to testify." I closed the folder. "I need time to think." "Of course." He placed his card on the table. "But don't wait too long." That evening, I found Emma in her room, studying. "Can we talk?" She didn't look up from her textbook. "Are you finally going to tell me the truth?" I sat on her bed. "I'm trying to protect you." "By becoming just like her?" Emma slammed her book shut. "Grandma lies. She manipulates. And now you're doing the same thing." Her words hit like a slap. "This is different." "Is it?" She finally met my eyes. "Because from where I'm sitting, you're both just hurting the family in different ways." My phone buzzed. Another text from Deborah. "Looking forward to the reunion, darling. though I do hope you're not working too hard on the arrangements. You seem stressed lately. Emma read the message over my shoulder. She's playing you, Mom, and you're letting her. I'm trying to make things right. No, Emma stood up. You're trying to make her pay. There's a difference. She walked out, leaving me alone with my thoughts and David's business card burning a hole in my pocket. The reunion was 2 weeks away. I had set everything in motion, pulled all the strings. But as I listened to Emma's door close down the hall, I wondered if the price of revenge might be higher than I'd calculated. The question was, could I stop now, even if I wanted to? My phone buzzed again. Lacey, you need to see this. Another victim just came forward. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and made my choice. There was no turning back now. The reunion buzzed with forced cheerfulness as family members filled Marcel and Deborah's backyard. I watched from the catering table as Deborah worked the crowd, her laugh just a touch too bright, her gestures slightly too animated. Everything's ready, Reuben murmured, appearing at my side, though I still think you should let me handle the service staff. No, I said firmly. I need to oversee this personally. He touched my arm. Anna, I've known you for 10 years. This isn't you. You don't know what she's done. Actually, I do. He nodded toward Emma, who was helping younger cousins fill their plates. And so does she. Maybe it's time to... Anna, Deborah's voice cut through our conversation. Darling, the appetizers are divine, though perhaps a bit heavy on the garlic? I plastered on a smile. Just following the recipe you gave me, Deborah. Family secret, remember? Her eyes narrowed slightly. Before she could respond, Cousin Peter approached. Deborah, he said coldly, we need to talk about Aunt Marie's inheritance. Peter, dear, this isn't the time. When is the time? His voice rose. When you've gambled away someone else's future? Heads turned. Deborah's smile faltered. Peter, Marcel stepped in. Perhaps we should... No, Dad. Raymond appeared, drink in hand. Let's hear what Peter has to say. In fact, I have some questions too. I moved among the guests, topping off wine glasses, catching snippets of conversation, Aunt Marie cornering Deborah about bank statements, Marcel questioning missing jewelry. The whispers grew louder, the accusations harder to deflect. Emma caught my eye from across the yard. She shook her head slightly before turning away. Dinner is served, I announced, directing everyone to the elegant tables set up on the lawn. As family members took their seats, I noticed Deborah's hands shaking as she reached for her water glass. Raymond sat as far from her as possible, while Marcel looked lost, caught between loyalty and suspicion. Before we eat, Deborah stood, raising her glass. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Family is everything to me. Is it? Peter interrupted. Is that why you told me the stock market crashed when you actually... That's enough, Deborah snapped, her composure cracking. I will not be accused. Mom. Raymond's voice was quiet but firm. What did you do with my investment account? The garden fell silent. Even the children stopped chattering. There were complications? Deborah's voice wavered. Complications? Aunt Marie stood up. Like when you complicated away my sister's inheritance? You don't understand, Deborah pleaded. I had a system. I was going to win it all back. The words hung in the air. Marcel's fork clattered to his plate. Win it back? He whispered. Deborah, what have you done? She turned to him, desperate. Marcel, I can explain. Explain what? Raymond demanded. How you stole from your own family. How you gambled away Emma's future. I did not steal. Deborah's voice rose hysterically. I borrowed. I was protecting our family's assets. By betting them away at casinos? I couldn't help myself. Is that what you call protection? You. Deborah's eyes locked onto mine. You orchestrated this, didn't you? Turned my family against me? You did that yourself, I said quietly. Every time you lied. Every time you stole. Mom? Emma's voice cut through the tension. She stood, tears in her eyes. Is it true? Did you really gamble away everything? Deborah's face crumpled. Emma, sweetheart, I never meant... Save it. Emma pushed back her chair. I don't want to hear any more lies. She walked away, disappearing into the house. I moved to follow, but Reuben caught my arm. "Let her go," he murmured. "She needs space." The evening dissolved into chaos after that. Marcel retreated to his study. Raymond stormed out. Aunt Marie demanded financial records. Through it all, Deborah sat silent, her perfect mask finally shattered. As guests began leaving, I overheard a conversation that made my blood run cold. "Did you hear?" one cousin whispered to another. "Someone called the gaming commission. They're investigating her." I froze. I hadn't made that call yet. Which meant... My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Deborah's house of cards is falling. Tomorrow's papers will be interesting. You're not the only one she betrayed." I looked up to see Deborah staring at her own phone, her face ash-white. Whatever was coming, it was bigger than I'd planned. Later, as I packed up the catering supplies, Emma appeared beside me. "Happy now?" she asked quietly. "You got what you wanted." I watched Deborah through the window, sitting alone in her once-perfect garden. "Did I?" "Mom," Emma's voice cracked. "What happens next?" I wished I knew. The revenge I'd planned was spinning beyond my control, and somewhere in the chaos I'd lost sight of what really mattered. "I don't know, honey," I admitted. "I really don't know." The morning headlines hit like a tsunami. Local socialite under investigation for gambling fraud. Deborah's photograph splashed across the front page, emerging from a casino with a man I didn't recognize. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Lacey sent a string of messages. "Turn on the news. Channel 7. Now." I flipped on the TV just as Emma came downstairs. The reporter's voice filled our kitchen. "Allegations of extensive gambling debts and financial fraud spanning multiple states. Sources say Deborah allegedly used her position as a family financial advisor to—" "Mom," Emma's voice was hollow. "Everyone at school will see this." Before I could respond, our doorbell rang. Raymond stood there, looking haggard. "Did you do this?" he demanded, waving a newspaper. "Call the authorities?" "No," I said truthfully, "but I was going to." He pushed past me into the house. "Do you have any idea what you've started? The police are at my parents' house right now." "Dad?" Emma appeared in the hallway. "What's happening?" Raymond's anger deflated at the sight of his daughter. "Hey, kiddo, it's complicated." "Everything's complicated lately," she muttered, grabbing her backpack. "I'm going to be late for school." "Emma, wait," I called, but the front door slammed behind her. My phone rang. "Marcel." "Anna?" His voice trembled. "They're taking her away. The police, they say there's evidence. Gambling debts to dangerous people." "I'm coming over," I said, already grabbing my keys. The scene at Marcel and Deborah's house was surreal. Police cars lined the driveway. Neighbors peered from behind curtains as officers led Deborah out in handcuffs. "This is all a misunderstanding," she kept saying, her designer outfit wrinkled, her makeup smeared. Then she saw me. You did this to me." "Mrs. Williams," a detective stepped between us. "Please keep moving." "She orchestrated this whole thing," Deborah shouted. "She turned my family against me. I trusted you," I shouted back, emotions finally boiling over. "We all trusted you. Emma's college fund, Raymond's investments, Peter's inheritance. Was any of it ever safe with you?" "You don't understand," Deborah's voice cracked. "I had debts. They were threatening me." The detective's head snapped up. "Who was threatening you?" Deborah's face went white. She pressed her lips together, suddenly silent. Marcel emerged from the house, looking decades older. "They found evidence, Anna. So much evidence. Bank statements, IOUs, letters from loan sharks." "Marcel," Deborah pleaded as they led her toward the police car. "Tell them I was protecting our family. Tell them—" "Protecting us?" Marcel's voice rose. "By stealing from our granddaughter? By gambling away our retirement? By getting involved with criminals?" "I can explain everything. Then explain this." He held up a stack of papers. "Explain why I found transfer records to offshore accounts. Explain the threatening letters from casino owners. Explain why our house is mortgaged to people I've never heard of." Deborah's carefully constructed world crumbled visibly. I was going to fix everything. One more bet, one more game. How much? I asked quietly. How much did you lose in total? She looked at me, tears streaming down her face. 3 million, maybe more. The number hung in the air like a death sentence. And Emma's college fund? Raymond demanded. Was that part of your gambling spree too? I needed it for collateral, Deborah burst out. These people, they were going to hurt us if I didn't pay. I thought I could win it back before anyone noticed. I just needed more time. A black SUV pulled up. 2 men in suits emerged, flashing FBI badges. Mrs. Williams, one said, we need to ask you some questions about your connections to organized crime. Deborah sagged in the officer's grip. Marcel, please, don't let them take me. But Marcel turned away, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. I watched as they drove Deborah away, sirens silent but lights flashing. The woman who'd stolen my daughter's future, who'd manipulated our entire family, reduced to a headline in tomorrow's paper. Anna, Raymond touched my arm. Did you know about the criminal connections? No, I whispered. I just wanted her to admit what she'd done. I never thought... My phone buzzed. Emma. Just saw the news. Coming home. We need to talk. Looking at Marcel's broken expression, at Raymond's devastated face, at the neighbors recording everything on their phones, I realized Emma had been right. In my quest for justice, I'd helped destroy our family in a different way. The FBI agents approached us. We'll need statements from everyone. This investigation goes deeper than just gambling debts. As I nodded numbly, another text came through from an unknown number. Deborah's not the only one who'll pay for her sins. The house of cards is still falling. I looked up at the beautiful home where we'd celebrated so many family gatherings, where Emma had grown up visiting her grandparents, where everything had seemed perfect on the surface. Now I wondered what other secrets those walls held, and who else would be destroyed before this was over. The FBI wants to interview me? Emma's voice shook as she paced our living room. About Grandma? Only if you're comfortable, I assured her. They just want to understand when she started managing the college fund. This is insane. She collapsed onto the couch. My friends keep sending me links to news articles. Someone at school made a meme about it. The doorbell rang. Reuben stood there, holding a paper bag. I brought dinner. Figured you both could use it. Thanks. I managed a weak smile. Come in. He started unpacking containers of comfort food onto our kitchen counter when my phone rang. Marcel. Anna? His voice was rough. They're seizing the house. Something about evidence and liens. I don't understand any of it. Where will you go? Raymond's letting me stay with him. But Anna, there's something else. The FBI found documents about Raymond's trust fund from my father. My heart sank. What about it? It's gone too, all of it. And the signatures. They're forged. Mine and Raymond's both. Emma appeared in the doorway, her face pale. Mom? I have to go, Marcel. I hung up, turning to my daughter. Honey, stop. She held up her hand. I heard. More bad news, right? More proof that Grandma ruined everything? Reuben stepped forward. Emma, sometimes people we love... Don't. She whirled on him. Don't try to make this okay. None of this is okay. She turned to me. And you just had to push, didn't you? Couldn't let it go? Emma, no. You planned that reunion to humiliate her, to expose her. Well, congratulations, Mom. You won. Grandma's in jail, the family's destroyed, and I can't even go on social media without seeing our name dragged through the mud. I was trying to get justice for you. I never asked for this kind of justice. Tears streamed down her face. I just wanted my mom back, the one who taught me that kindness matters more than revenge, the one who always said we rise above hate. Her words hit like physical blows. Reuben touched my shoulder, but I pulled away. Everything I did was to protect you, I whispered. No. Emma wiped her eyes. Everything you did was to hurt her. There's a difference. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Raymond, looking exhausted. The FBI's questioning Dad now, he said, without preamble. They think Mom might have... God, I can't even say it. They think she might have been laundering money for some very dangerous people. Emma made a small, choked sound and ran upstairs. Her door slammed seconds later. "She's right, you know," Raymond said quietly, "about what this is doing to the family." "Oh, now you care about family?" I snapped. "Where were you when your mother was stealing your daughter's future?" "I should have seen it," he shouted. "I'm her son. I should have noticed something was wrong, but I was too busy with my new life, my new family, to see what was happening to my old one." Reuben stepped between us. "This isn't helping anyone. We need to focus on what comes next." My phone buzzed with another anonymous text. "Deborah's associates are asking questions. Watch your back." Raymond read it over my shoulder. "What associates? Anna, what haven't you told me?" Before I could answer, Emma's scream pierced the air. We rushed upstairs to find her staring at her laptop. "Someone posted Grandma's entire criminal record online," she choked out. "With pictures, security footage from casinos, bank records, everything." I looked at the screen. The post was everywhere, spreading like wildfire across social media. Comments ranged from mockery to threats. "I can't stay here," Emma grabbed her bag. "I'm going to Aunt Lacey's. Emma, please." "Don't follow me," she pushed past us. "I need space, from all of this, from you." The front door slammed for the second time that day. Raymond ran his hands through his hair. "I'll make sure she gets there safely," he said, heading after her. Left alone with Reuben, I finally let my walls crumble. "What have I done?" I whispered. "You exposed the truth," he said gently. "But maybe Emma's right. Maybe the cost was too high." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Marcel. "The FBI found something else, something worse. They're bringing in Deborah for more questioning. Anna, I think we're all in danger." I showed Reuben the message, my hands shaking. "Whatever's coming," he said, taking my hand. "You don't have to face it alone." But looking at Emma's empty room, at the chaos I'd helped unleash, I wondered if being alone might be exactly what I deserved. The revenge I'd planned had turned into something darker, more dangerous than I'd ever imagined. And now my daughter, the person I'd done all this for, couldn't even look at me. The courthouse buzzed with tension as we gathered for Deborah's bail hearing. Emma sat between Raymond and me, her first time speaking to me in 3 days. "All rise." Deborah entered in handcuffs, her designer clothes replaced by a prison jumpsuit. She looked smaller somehow, older. Her eyes scanned the gallery until they found Emma. The mask cracked completely. "Wait," she called out suddenly. "I need to confess something." The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Williams?" "It wasn't just gambling." Deborah's voice trembled. "I was helping them move money, clean it. They said they'd hurt my family if I didn't." The courtroom erupted. Emma grabbed my hand, squeezing tight. "Order!" The judge banged his gavel. "Who threatened you, Mrs. Williams?" Before Deborah could answer, the courthouse doors burst open. 2 men in expensive suits strode in, followed by their lawyers. "Anthony." Marcel's face went white. "And Victor." I recognized them from photos in the FBI file. Casino owners with suspected mob connections. The same men from the anonymous tips. "Deborah, darling," Anthony's voice oozed fake concern. "Are you unwell? Saying such strange things?" "Don't," Deborah shrank back. "Please." "Mrs. Williams," Victor spoke smoothly. "Perhaps you're confused. Stress can do that." "She's not confused." Marcel stood up. "I found the letters, the threats, the photos of our family being watched." "Dad, sit down," Raymond hissed, but Marcel continued. "You used my wife's gambling addiction to force her into laundering money, then blackmailed her with threats against our grandchildren." Emma's grip on my hand tightened. I looked at her face. She was terrified, but her jaw was set in a familiar, determined way. "Grandma," she called out clearly, "tell the truth, all of it." Deborah turned, tears streaming down her face. "I was weak. The gambling. It started small, but then I lost more than I could repay. They offered to clear my debts if I helped them, said they'd hurt Emma if I refused." "Your Honor," Anthony's lawyer stepped forward. "These are baseless accusations. I have proof." Deborah's voice strengthened. Account numbers, recordings, everything. Victor's pleasant mask slipped. "You recorded—" "Order!" the judge commanded. "Bailiff, secure those men. Mrs. Williams, are you prepared to make a full statement? Yes. Deborah straightened her shoulders. I've destroyed enough lives trying to protect myself. It's time to make it right. The next hour was a blur of revelations. Deborah detailed years of money laundering, naming names, providing evidence. The FBI agents scribbled notes furiously. Anthony and Victor were led away in handcuffs, their threats echoing through the courthouse. You're dead, Deborah. Your whole family's dead. Emma trembled beside me. I wrapped my arm around her, and for the first time in days, she didn't pull away. I'm so sorry, Deborah sobbed, looking at us. The college fund, I didn't gamble it away. They took it, said it was insurance. Insurance? Raymond demanded. To keep me cooperative. They knew hurting Emma's future would destroy me more than any physical threat. I felt sick. All this time, I'd blamed Deborah completely, never considering she might have been a victim too. Your Honor, the FBI agent stood. Given Mrs. Williams' cooperation and the clear evidence of coercion, we recommend protective custody and a reduced sentence. The judge nodded. Agreed. Mrs. Williams, you'll be moved to a secure facility. Your family will receive protection until these men stand trial. As they led Deborah away, she stopped before us. Anna, you were right to expose everything. I was too scared to do it myself. Grandma, Emma stepped forward. Why didn't you tell us? We could have helped. Pride, shame, fear. Deborah's smile was bitter. Take your pick, but watching you all fight for justice, it gave me courage, even if it came too late. Marcel approached his wife. It's not too late to do the right thing. The right thing, she whispered. I forgot what that meant so long ago. The bailiff led her away. We stood in the emptying courthouse, the weight of everything pressing down. What happens now? Emma asked quietly. Now, Raymond said, we stick together, as a family. Protection details outside, the FBI agent approached. You'll all need to be careful until the trial. I looked at my daughter, remembering how this started, with my desire for revenge against a woman I thought I understood. Mom? Emma's voice was soft. I get it now. Why you pushed so hard. You knew something was wrong. I knew the money was gone, I admitted. But I never imagined... None of us did, Marcel said. We all failed to see what was happening. Failed to help her when she needed us most. My phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. Anthony and Victor won't go quietly. Watch your backs. I showed the message to the FBI agent, who nodded grimly. We'll increase security. This isn't over yet. Looking at my family, Emma, Raymond, Marcel, all of us shaken but standing together, I realized he was right. This wasn't over. But at least now we were facing it together, with the truth finally in the open. The morning sun streamed through Stanford's admissions office as Emma signed the final paperwork. After everything, she was actually here. That's the last form, the advisor smiled. Welcome to Stanford. I blinked back tears as Emma hugged me. We did it, Mom. You did it, I corrected. The scholarship committee saw your strength, not just your grades. The essay about family redemption probably helped, she grinned. Who knew Grandma's story would get me into college after all? My phone buzzed, a message from Marcel. Deborah's testimony finished. Anthony and Victor going away for 20 years minimum. She gets 5, with possibility of early release. Good news? Emma asked, seeing my expression. The best kind. I showed her the message. Justice finally, the real kind. We walked across campus, enjoying the California sunshine. My catering business had expanded to the West Coast, thanks to Ruben's management skills. He'd insisted on handling the expansion himself, letting me focus on family healing. Dad's plane lands in an hour, Emma said. He's bringing Grandpa to help move me in. Raymond and Marcel had grown closer through all this, father and son finding common ground in protecting what mattered most. Have you read Grandma's latest letter? I shook my head. The weekly letters from prison had become Emma's private connection with Deborah, a chance for both to rebuild what was lost. She's teaching financial literacy classes to other inmates, Emma said softly. Says it helps her feel useful again. We reached Emma's dorm building just as Raymond's taxi pulled up. Marcel emerged first, looking younger than he had in months. "There's my college girl." He hugged Emma tight. "Ready to make this place yours?" Raymond grabbed boxes from the trunk. "Where's your roommate from again?" "Portland," Emma said. "She's arriving this afternoon." As we carried boxes upstairs, I noticed Emma had packed the family photo from last Christmas, all of us together at the prison visiting room, even Deborah in her gray uniform, smiling genuinely for the first time in years. "Mom?" Emma touched my arm. "You're thinking too hard again." Just remembering where we started, how angry I was. We all were. She set down a box. But anger didn't fix anything. Understanding did. Raymond appeared with the last load. "Speaking of understanding, Deborah's lawyer called. The restitution payments are starting next month." "I don't want her money," I said firmly. "She insists." Marcel joined us. "Says it's part of making amends. Not just the college fund, everything she took from everyone." "Besides," Emma added, "she's writing a book about gambling addiction and financial fraud. The advance is already in escrow." A commotion outside drew us to the window. A family was arguing about dorm arrangements, their voices rising. "Reminds me of us," Emma said quietly, "before everything changed." "We're still changing," I replied. "That's not a bad thing." My phone buzzed again. Ruben sending a photo of our new San Francisco location. The caption read, "Ready whenever you are, boss." "You should go," Emma said, reading over my shoulder. "The business needs you too." "You need me more." "Mom," she took my hands. "I'm okay. We're all okay. Better than okay, actually. We're honest now. Real." Raymond cleared his throat. "Speaking of honest, I have something to say." We turned to him. "I was wrong to stay away all those years. Wrong to let Mom handle everything without questioning it. Wrong to not be there for Emma more." "Dad." "Let me finish." He straightened. "I'm moving to San Francisco, taking a job here to be closer, if that's okay with everyone." Emma hugged him fiercely. Marcel wiped his eyes. "Family stays together," he said gruffly. "However we can." A knock at the door revealed Emma's roommate and her parents. Normal people with normal problems, starting a normal college journey. "Hi," Emma stepped forward. "I'm Emma. Welcome to our room." As the families mingled, I watched my daughter navigate her new life with grace and wisdom beyond her years. She'd learned hard lessons about trust, forgiveness, and the complicated nature of justice. "She's going to be amazing," Raymond murmured beside me. "She already is," I replied. "We all are, in our own way." My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Deborah. "Thank you, Anna, for fighting for the truth, for helping me find my courage, for letting Emma teach us all how to be better people." I showed the message to Emma, who smiled softly. "Reply back," she said. "Tell her we love her. Tell her we're healing. Tell her we're family. The real kind, not the pretend perfect kind." As I typed the response, I realized the revenge I'd sought had transformed into something far more valuable. Redemption. Not just for Deborah, but for all of us. Emma hugged me suddenly. "I love you, Mom. Thanks for never giving up." "On you? Never." "No," she whispered. "On all of us. On what family really means." Outside, the California sun painted everything in shades of possibility. We had survived the storm, emerged stronger, truer to ourselves and each other. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was real. And real, we'd learned, was better than perfect any day.
I stood frozen in the grand ballroom of the Hanson estate, watching my mother-in-law Meredith unveil my skincare line, the one I'd spent 2 years perfecting, as her family's newest venture. The crystal champagne glass nearly slipped from my trembling fingers as she gestured to the elegant display of products, each bearing the Hanson Beauty logo where my grandmother's name should have been. My name is Lucia, and this was supposed to be my moment. Instead, I was just another guest at my own execution. "Ladies and gentlemen," Meredith's voice carried across the room with practiced authority. "I'm thrilled to present our exclusive line of natural skincare products. developed through generations of Hansen family expertise. I felt bile rising in my throat. Those were my grandmother's recipes, centuries-old formulas passed down through my family, not hers. Next to Meredith stood her daughter Paula, beaming with unearned pride as she held up one of the signature facial serums. Lucia, my husband Tyler touched my elbow. "Are you okay? You look pale." Before I could answer, Fred, my business partner, rushed over. "Tell me I'm seeing things," he whispered urgently. "Those aren't our formulas up there, are they?" "They are." My voice came out surprisingly steady. "Every single one." The room spun as I remembered sharing my plans with Meredith over dinner 3 months ago. How she'd seemed so supportive, offering to connect me with suppliers through her social network. I'd even given her samples to try. "And now," Meredith continued, "I'd like to introduce the creative force behind Hansen Beauty, my daughter Paula." Paula stepped forward, her designer dress catching the light. "Thank you, Mother. I'm so excited to share these family secrets that have been passed down through generations of Hansen women." The applause was deafening. I watched society's elite fawn over my sister-in-law as she described the exact manufacturing process I'd developed. "We have to do something," Fred hissed. "We have all the documentation. The original formulas were in my office at the Hansen building." I cut him off, where Meredith had full access as board member. Tyler squeezed my hand. "Lucia, this can't be right. Mother wouldn't she?" I pulled away from him. "Your mother has never accepted me as part of this family. Now I know why she insisted I work from their corporate office." As if on cue, Meredith spotted us and glided over, Paula in tow. "Lucia, darling, isn't this exciting? Paula has done such amazing work." I met her eyes, seeing the challenge there. She knew exactly what she'd done. "Amazing indeed. Those formulas seem familiar." "Oh?" Meredith's smile didn't waver. "Well, great minds think alike, though of course these are authentic Hansen family recipes." "Really?" I stepped closer. "Then you won't mind explaining how you replicated my grandmother's exact proportions of Bulgarian rose oil and wild harvested herbs, the ones I spent months perfecting?" Paula shifted uncomfortably. "Mother?" "Now, Lucia." Meredith's voice dropped to a whisper. "Let's not make a scene. You're part of this family now. The success of Hansen Beauty benefits all of us." "I trusted you," I said, my voice cracking. "I shared my grandmother's legacy with you." "A legacy?" Meredith laughed softly. "Dear, you're an immigrant's granddaughter who married into our family. Did you really think we'd let you launch a brand under your name? This is about protecting the Hansen reputation." The room went silent in my ears. Through the blur of tears, I watched Curtis Douglas, Meredith's business partner, directing photographers to capture Paula's practiced poses with the products. "Lucia," Tyler started, but I was already moving. I walked straight to the display table, picked up one of the serums, and hurled it against the marble floor. The crash silenced the room. "These formulas were stolen," I announced, my voice carrying across the stunned crowd. "Every recipe, every ingredient combination, they were all developed by my grandmother and me, and I can prove it." Security appeared at Meredith's subtle gesture. "I think you've had too much champagne," she said smoothly. "Perhaps it's best if you leave." As strong hands gripped my arms, I locked eyes with Paula. For a moment, I saw uncertainty flicker across her face. "You can steal my formulas," I called out as they dragged me toward the door. "But you can't steal the knowledge behind them. Let's see how long your family legacy lasts without me." The last thing I saw before the doors closed was Tyler, standing frozen between his mother and the space where I had been. Outside in the cool night air, Fred helped me into his car. "What now?" he asked quietly. I wiped my eyes, smearing expensive mascara across my fingers. Now? I took a deep breath, feeling something hard and determined settle in my chest. Now we make them regret ever hearing my grandmother's name. Fred started the engine, and as we pulled away from the Hanson estate, I watched the glittering lights grow smaller in the side mirror. They thought they'd won tonight, but they had no idea what they'd just started. This wasn't just about business anymore. This was about justice, family honor, and showing the Hansons that karma always collects her debts. Mija, stop pacing. You'll wear a hole in my floor. My grandmother Aurora's voice cut through my spiral of self-doubt. 2 weeks had passed since the Hanson beauty launch, and I'd been hiding out in her small apartment, licking my wounds. I should have seen it coming, abuela. I collapsed onto her worn floral couch. The way Meredith always asked so many questions about the formulas, how she insisted I work from their office. Aurora set down her wooden spoon and wiped her hands on her apron. The familiar scent of herbs filled the kitchen, the same herbs that had inspired my skincare line. "Come here," she said, pulling out a kitchen chair. "Sit." I obeyed, watching as she opened her ancient recipe box. "Do you know why I never wrote down the exact measurements for our family's remedies? Because you're old school and prefer to eyeball everything?" She smacked my shoulder playfully. "No, smart mouth, because the real secret isn't in the recipes. It's in knowing how to read the plants, how to feel the right moment to harvest, how to sense when the mixture is perfect. These things cannot be stolen." My phone buzzed again. Another call from Tyler. I silenced it. "He's called 6 times today," Aurora noted. "Let him call. He's probably just doing damage control for his precious family. Or maybe he's worried about his wife who disappeared 2 weeks ago." Before I could respond, Fred burst through the door, waving his tablet. "Lucia, you need to see this." He thrust the device at me. On screen was a beauty blog reviewing Hanson Beauty's products. The headline made my heart skip. "Hanson Beauty launch faces quality control issues. Customers report severe reactions. They're trying to mass-produce your formulas," Fred explained, pulling up more articles. "But they clearly don't understand the importance of proper ingredient sourcing or processing. There are complaints flooding in about rashes and allergic reactions." Aurora peered over my shoulder. "Ah, they used processed rose oil instead of wild harvested, didn't they? Amateurs." I scrolled through the comments. "This is bad, really bad. They're going to hurt someone." "It's their own fault," Fred said. "But that's not all. Look at their stock price." The Hanson Beauty launch had tanked their parent company's value by 30% in 2 weeks. A smile tugged at my lips before I caught myself. "I shouldn't be happy about this." "Why not?" Aurora demanded. "They stole from you. Let them learn their lesson." My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Paula. "Please call me. It's important." "Delete it," Fred advised. "We need to focus on our next move. I've been talking to some independent investors who are interested in backing your own line." I stared at the message, remembering Paula's uncertain expression at the launch. "What if—" "No," Fred interrupted. "Whatever you're thinking, no. They don't deserve your help." Aurora grabbed my chin, forcing me to look at her. "Listen to me, Lucia. Your whole life, you've tried to make yourself smaller to fit into their world. But you are not small. You are my granddaughter, and our knowledge runs deeper than their shallow roots. But, no buts." She pulled out another kitchen chair. "Fred, sit. Both of you are going to help me prepare a batch of my summer facial oil." It's time Lucia remembered who she really is. For the next hour, Aurora guided us through the process, explaining each step with the patience of a born teacher. The familiar motions centered me, and I felt my clarity returning with each herb we crushed, each oil we blended. "See how the calendula petals release their oil?" she demonstrated. You must coax it out gently, with respect. This is what they will never understand. My phone buzzed yet again, Tyler this time, with a voicemail. Lucia, please, things are falling apart here. She's not handling this well. We need to talk. Fred reached for my phone, but I stopped him. No, wait. Maybe this is exactly what we need. What do you mean? I stood up, suddenly energized. They're desperate. Their launch is failing. Their reputation is taking a hit, and they don't know how to fix it. So we let them stew for a bit longer. Then we launch our own line, the real thing, done right. And when they come begging for help, Aurora's eyes sparkled. Then you negotiate from a position of strength. I picked up the bottle of oil we'd just made, holding it to the light. The golden liquid seemed to glow from within. Exactly. But first, we need to build something they can't touch. Fred grinned. I'll call those investors tonight. Aurora squeezed my hand. Now you're thinking like my granddaughter. I saved the latest voicemail from Tyler, but didn't play it. Let them worry. Let them scramble. I had work to do, and this time I wouldn't be doing it in their shadow. Fred, I said, already reaching for my laptop, call your contact at that organic farm co-op. We're going to need a lot of calendula. And that's why we source all our ingredients directly from small-scale organic farmers, I explained to the crowd gathered in our pop-up shop. 3 months of relentless work had transformed an empty storefront into a warm, inviting space filled with the scents of herbs and essential oils. A woman raised her hand. But isn't this the same formula that Hanson Beauty? Actually, Fred smoothly interjected from beside me, these are the original formulations developed by Lucia and her grandmother. We have extensive documentation of their development. The crowd murmured with interest. Our story had been spreading through social media, and the contrast between our authentic approach and Hanson Beauty's mass-produced disasters hadn't gone unnoticed. After the presentation, as customers lined up to sample our products, I spotted a familiar figure hovering near the entrance. Tyler. Go, Fred whispered. I've got this. I found Tyler examining our signature serum display. He looked tired with dark circles under his eyes and his usually perfect suit slightly rumpled. Impressive, he said, gesturing around the shop. Mother's furious, by the way. I'm devastated, I replied dryly. Why are you here, Tyler? He ran a hand through his hair. Can we talk? Somewhere private? I led him to our small back office, keeping the door open. Talk. The company's in trouble, Lucia. Real trouble. Hanson Beauty is hemorrhaging money, and the FDA is investigating the adverse reaction reports. That tends to happen when you steal formulas you don't understand. Paula's a mess. She barely leaves her apartment anymore. And Mother? He hesitated. She's not handling any of this well. And this concerns me because you're my wife, Tyler exploded. Because despite everything, we're still family. A customer peered curiously into the office. I lowered my voice. Family? Your mother stole my grandmother's legacy and handed it to Paula like a birthday present. Where was your concern for family then? I didn't know, he protested. I swear, Lucia, I had no idea what Mother was planning. But you didn't stop it either, did you? You just stood there. Before he could respond, Fred appeared in the doorway. Lucia, that reporter from the wellness blog is here for your interview. I'll be right there. I turned back to Tyler. If that's all. It's not. He pulled out his phone and pulled up a news article. Curtis Douglas is talking to the press. He's planning to blame the whole thing on Paula, paint her as a naive rich girl who got in over her head. Mother's letting it happen. That gave me pause. Paula might be spoiled, but she didn't deserve to take the fall for Meredith's schemes. The board meeting is next week, Tyler continued. They're going to vote on dissolving Hanson Beauty completely. Mother will probably survive it, but Paula? He shook his head. Her reputation will never recover. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the only one who can fix this. He met my eyes. And because despite what you think, I do love you. I miss you. Fred cleared his throat. Reporter's waiting. Tell her I'll be there in 5 minutes. I waited until Fred left before addressing Tyler. I can't help you. Can't or won't. Does it matter? Your mother made her choice. And now I'm making mine. He stepped closer. I'm backing your version of events at the board meeting. All of it. Mother will probably never speak to me again, but it's the right thing to do. I stared at him, searching for any sign of deception. Why now? Because watching you build this, he gestured around the shop, reminded me why I fell in love with you. Your passion, your integrity, everything Mother tried to dismiss as common. Through the open door, I could hear the buzz of customers, the gentle music we played, the soft clink of sample bottles. My shop, my dream, built exactly how I wanted it. The reporter's waiting, I said finally. Lucia. But, I cut him off. Have Paula call me, directly, not through you or your mother. Hope flickered across his face. You'll talk to her? I'll listen. That's all I'm promising. He nodded, then hesitated before leaning in to kiss my cheek. I really am sorry, he whispered. I watched him leave through the back door, then took a moment to compose myself before heading out to meet the reporter. Fred caught my eye questioningly. Paula might be calling, I told him. And maybe it's time we heard her side of the story. Fred looked skeptical, but nodded. Your call, but remember, we're finally winning. I touched one of our display bottles, remembering Aurora's words about strength and respect. Sometimes winning isn't about destroying your opponent, Fred. Sometimes it's about teaching them a better way. Just be careful, he warned. The Hansons aren't as powerful as they think they are. I finished. Trust me, I know exactly what I'm doing. But as I walked toward the waiting reporter, I wondered if that was really true. Was I opening myself up to another betrayal? Or was this the opportunity I'd been waiting for to set things right? On my terms? Paula looked nothing like her usual polished self when she slipped into the back of my grandmother's cafe 3 days later. Her designer clothes had been replaced by yoga pants and an oversized sweater, her perfect hair pulled back in a messy bun. I wasn't sure you'd come, I said, sliding a cup of Aurora's special tea across the table. I wasn't sure you'd agree to meet. She wrapped her hands around the cup but didn't drink. The press is camped outside my apartment. They're calling me a fraud. Aren't you? She flinched. I deserve that. You deserve worse. I know. She finally met my eyes. Mother said it would be simple. Just put my name on the brand, be the face of the company. I never thought what? That stealing someone's life work might have consequences? That people would get hurt? Tears welled in her eyes. Those reaction reports, those are real people, Lucia. And now Curtis is trying to pin everything on me, saying I rushed production without proper testing. I leaned back, studying her. But you didn't, did you? That was Meredith. Paula nodded miserably. Mother handles all the business decisions. Always has. She gestured vaguely. Show up and smile. And take credit for other people's work. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I am so sorry. The cafe door chimed, and Aurora emerged from the kitchen, carrying a plate of her famous honey cookies. She set them down without a word and fixed Paula with a penetrating stare. These cookies, Aurora said finally, require exactly 17 minutes to bake. Not 16, not 18, 17. Do you know why? Paula blinked in confusion. No. Because that's how long it takes for the honey to caramelize perfectly without burning. You cannot rush it. You cannot fake it. Nature has its own timeline. She turned to me. Just like your skincare formulas, yes? I nodded, understanding where she was going. The ingredients need proper time to blend, to mature. You can't mass produce that process without compromising quality. But surely there must be a way to scale up production, Paula protested. The demand is there. There is, I agreed, but not the way Meredith did it, not by cutting corners and substituting inferior ingredients. Aurora patted Paula's hand. You are not your mother, child, but you must decide who you want to be. Paula's phone buzzed. Meredith's face flashed on the screen. She declined the call with trembling fingers. The board meeting is tomorrow, she said. Curtis has already submitted his statement blaming me for everything. Mother hasn't even tried to defend me. And Tyler? I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. He's presenting evidence that the original formulas were yours. She managed a weak smile. I think he's finally standing up to Mother. Too late for damage control, though. I exchanged a look with Aurora, who nodded slightly. Maybe not. Paula's head snapped up. What do you mean? I could help fix this mess, but my terms would be non-negotiable. Anything, she said quickly. Name it. First, a public confession. The whole truth about where the formulas came from and who was really making the decisions. She paled but nodded. And? Second, complete creative control returns to me. Any future collaboration happens under my brand, my rules. Mother will never agree. Then she can watch her company collapse under FDA investigations and lawsuits. I stood up. Those are my terms. Take them or leave them. Paula stared at her untouched tea. She'll disown me. Probably, Aurora said gently, but perhaps it's time to own your own life, yes? Paula's phone buzzed again. Another call from Meredith. This time, she turned the phone off completely. Okay, she said quietly. I'll do it. All of it. Write it down, I instructed, pushing a notepad toward her. Everything. From the beginning. We'll need it for tomorrow. As Paula began writing, Aurora pulled me aside. Are you sure about this, mija? Helping them after everything? I watched Paula's shoulders shake as she documented her mother's deception. I'm not doing it for Meredith. Sometimes the best revenge is forcing people to face their own truth. And Tyler? That's complicated. Aurora squeezed my hand. Life usually is, but you're handling it with grace. Paula looked up from her writing, tears streaming down her face. I never wanted to hurt anyone, she said. I just wanted Mother to be proud of me. I know, I replied, surprising myself with the gentleness in my voice. But tomorrow, you have a chance to make yourself proud instead. She nodded and returned to writing, while I began drafting the statement that would either save or destroy the Hanson family's reputation. Either way, by this time tomorrow, everything would change. The Hanson corporate boardroom felt colder than I remembered. I sat between Fred and Tyler, watching Meredith's face as she read Paula's written confession. Her perfectly manicured fingers crumpled the edges of the paper. This is ridiculous, she finally spat, throwing the pages across the table. Paula is clearly under duress. I'm not, Paula said quietly from her seat. She looked small in her formal blazer, but her voice was steady. Every word is true, Mother. Curtis Douglas cleared his throat. The board needs to consider the legal implications. If what Paula's saying is correct, it's not, Meredith cut in. This is obviously some ploy by Lucia to what? Tyler interrupted. To expose the truth? I have copies of all Lucia's original documentation, including security footage showing you accessing her office after hours. The board members murmured amongst themselves. I caught fragments of their whispered conversation. FDA investigation. Stock price falling. Public relations nightmare. Meredith's smile turned razor sharp. Lucia, dear, Surely we can discuss this privately, as family, like how we discussed stealing my formulas? I pulled out my laptop. I have a proposition for the board, one that could salvage this situation. The board doesn't need. I think we'd like to hear it, the chairwoman interjected, silencing Meredith with a look. I opened my presentation. My brand has been growing steadily, with zero adverse reactions and excellent customer retention. I'm prepared to enter into a partnership with Hansen Corp., but only under specific conditions. Which are? Curtis leaned forward, suddenly interested. First, full creative control returns to me. Second, Paula stays on as brand ambassador, but only after she makes a public statement explaining exactly what happened. Absolutely not! Meredith slammed her hand on the table. Paula, tell them you won't. I already agreed, Paula said. Her voice cracked, but she continued. I'm tired of lying, Mother. Tired of pretending. Pretending what? Meredith scoffed. That I'm happy, that I wanted any of this. Paula stood up, tears streaming down her face. Do you know why I never launched my own business? Because you convinced me I wasn't capable of anything except being pretty and following orders. The boardroom fell silent. Even Curtis looked uncomfortable. Everything I've ever done, Paula continued, was to make you proud. But it's never enough, is it? And now you're letting me take the fall for your decisions. I was protecting our family name, Meredith hissed. By destroying mine? Paula laughed bitterly. I'm pregnant, Mother. 5 months. I've been hiding it because I knew you'd see it as another failure. The revelation hit the room like a thunderbolt. I saw Tyler's jaw drop. Clearly, this was news to him, too. That's why I agreed to be the face of this company. Paula wiped her eyes. One last chance to prove my worth before you found out. But I can't. I won't let my child grow up watching me lie and steal and hurt people just to earn your approval. Meredith's face had gone chalk white. You're pregnant? Who? Does it matter? You'll probably just try to control that, too. I cleared my throat. The offer stands. Paula makes the statement. I take creative control, and we rebuild the brand properly, together. Otherwise, I release everything to the press. The chairwoman adjusted her glasses. Mrs. Hansen, given the circumstances, I strongly suggest. Fine. Meredith's voice could have frozen hell. Do whatever you want. You've already turned my daughter against me. No, Mother, Paula said softly. You did that yourself. Tyler reached for my hand under the table. I let him take it, feeling the familiar warmth of his palm against mine. I'll have legal draw up the paperwork, the chairwoman announced. In the meantime, I believe we should suspend all current Hansen Beauty operations pending the restructuring. As the board members filed out, Meredith remained seated, staring at nothing. For the first time, I saw her as she really was, not an untouchable society queen, but a woman who'd sacrificed everything, including her daughter's love, for control. Paula touched my arm. Thank you for giving me a chance to make this right. Don't thank me yet, I warned. The hard part's still coming. I know, but at least it'll be honest. She gathered her things, pausing at the door. Mother, I have an ultrasound appointment next week. You're welcome to come, if you want. Meredith didn't respond. Paula left quietly, leaving me alone with Tyler and his mother. Well, Tyler said, standing, I suppose we should. You'll regret this, Meredith said suddenly, looking directly at me. All of you? I met her gaze steadily. No, Meredith, the only regret here is that you never understood the difference between power and strength. Taking Tyler's arm, I walked out of the boardroom, leaving Meredith alone with the scattered pages of her daughter's confession. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but for now, the truth was finally out. And sometimes, that's the strongest revenge of all. Deep breaths, I coached Paula as the makeup artist made final touches. Remember, just tell the truth. We were backstage at a major morning show, minutes away from the interview that would either save or destroy both our reputations. Paula's baby bump was now visible in her simple navy dress. She'd insisted on showing it, tired of hiding. "What if I freeze?" she whispered. "What if—" "Then I'll be right there beside you." I checked my own appearance in the mirror. Just like we practiced. Tyler appeared with 3 water bottles. 5 minutes to air. Mother's in the green room. She actually came? Paula's eyes widened. Probably to make sure we don't completely destroy the family name, I muttered. The producer stuck her head in. "Ladies, we're ready for you." The studio lights were blinding as we took our seats across from the host, Sarah, who was known for her tough interviews. My palms were sweating, but I kept my expression calm. This morning we're joined by Paula Hansen and Lucia Lynch to discuss the recent controversy surrounding Hansen Beauty, Sarah began. Paula, let's start with you. There have been serious allegations about the origin of your skincare line. Paula gripped her water bottle. Yes, and they're true, all of them. Her voice shook slightly. The formulas were stolen from Lucia, my sister-in-law. She developed them based on her grandmother's traditional recipes. That's a serious admission. Sarah leaned forward. Why come clean now? Because I'm about to become a mother myself. Paula rested a hand on her bump. And I want my child to be proud of me. Real pride, not the kind that comes from stealing and lying. From the corner of my eye, I saw Meredith shift in her seat in the green room. Lucia, Sarah turned to me. These formulas were your family's legacy. How do you feel sitting here now? Honestly, I'm proud of Paula for telling the truth. It takes courage to admit when you've been wrong. But you're not just here to clear the air, are you? I understand there's a new business arrangement. Yes, I smiled. We're relaunching the line under my direction, with Paula as brand ambassador. But this time, we're doing it right. Ethical sourcing, proper production methods, no shortcuts. And the adverse reactions customers reported were the result of rushed production and substituted ingredients, Paula cut in. That was my mother's decision, not Lucia's formula. I should have spoken up then, but I was too afraid. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Afraid of what? Paula took a deep breath. Of disappointing my mother, of losing my place in the family. But I've realized there are worse things than disappointment, like looking in the mirror and not recognizing yourself anymore. In the green room, Meredith stood up abruptly. For a moment, I thought she might storm the set, but instead, she walked out. What would you say to customers who trusted Hansen Beauty? Sarah pressed. I'm sorry, Paula's voice cracked. We betrayed your trust, but Lucia's giving me a chance to make it right, to be part of something authentic. The new line will honor her grandmother's legacy while creating my own. Speaking of which, Sarah smiled, I understand you brought samples of the rebranded products? I reached under my chair for the gift bags. Yes, these are from our first official collaboration. Each bottle includes both our stories, the truth about where these formulas came from and where they're going. As we demonstrated the products, I watched Paula explain the ingredients with genuine enthusiasm. She'd spent weeks learning everything about the process, determined to earn her place this time. After the segment, Tyler met us backstage. That was incredible, both of you. Mother left, Paula said quietly. I know, but that's her loss. He hugged his sister. I'm proud of you, Paula, and I can't wait to be an uncle. Fred appeared with his tablet. Orders are already coming in. The website's crashing from traffic. And the comments? I asked. Overwhelmingly positive. People love a redemption story, especially an honest one. Paula touched my arm. Thank you for giving me a second chance. Thank you for being brave enough to take it. Ladies, the producer called. People Magazine is here for your photo shoot. As we headed to the next interview, I received a text from Aurora. Watch the show. You both did good, Mika. Sometimes the strongest seeds grow from broken ground. I showed the message to Paula, who smiled through her tears. Your grandmother is very wise. She is, and she's excited to teach you the proper way to harvest calendula. Really? Even after everything? Family isn't just about blood, Paula. It's about choices. You made the right one today. We paused outside the photo studio, where journalists were already gathering. Paula squared her shoulders, one hand protectively over her bump. Ready? I asked. She nodded. Ready to start over, the right way this time. Together, we pushed open the doors, stepping into the bright lights of our new beginning. Sometimes I realized the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies, it's about transforming them into allies. The lavender needs to be harvested before sunrise, I explained to Paula as we walked through the organic farm that supplied our ingredients. 3 months had passed since the television confession, and our rebranded line was thriving. The essential oil content is highest then. Paula, now visibly pregnant, touched a purple stem gently. Mother always said getting your hands dirty was beneath us. Speaking of Meredith, I hesitated. Have you heard from her? Not since the interview. Tyler says she's in Switzerland, recovering from the scandal. Paula made air quotes with her fingers. At least Curtis finally backed off after the legal team got involved. A familiar car pulled up to the farm's entrance. Tyler, carrying coffee and breakfast. He'd been staying at my grandmother's guest house while we figured out our marriage, taking things slow. Morning, ladies, he called out, balancing a tray of cups. Aurora sent muffins. Your grandmother's been feeding me constantly, Paula laughed. She says the baby needs proper nourishment, not those silly diet foods I used to eat. She's right, I smiled, accepting a coffee from Tyler. Speaking of the baby, how was the doctor's appointment? Paula's face lit up. It's a girl. I'm having a daughter. Tyler hugged his sister. That's wonderful. Have you thought about names? Actually, Paula looked at me nervously. I was thinking of Aurora, if that's okay. I nearly dropped my coffee. You want to name her after my grandmother? She's shown me more maternal kindness in 3 months than Mother has in 30 years. Plus, Paula stroked her belly, I want my daughter to have a strong name, one that represents healing and new beginnings. Before I could respond, Fred's truck came barreling down the dirt road, kicking up dust. Turn on your phones, he shouted, jumping out. Meredith just went on live with Regina Ford. Regina Ford was the most watched morning show host in the country. We huddled around Fred's tablet, watching the stream. Meredith sat primly in a designer suit, looking perfectly composed. I've come to set the record straight about my daughter's performance 3 months ago. Oh, God, Paula whispered. Paula was under tremendous stress, Meredith continued smoothly. The pregnancy hormones, the pressure of running a company. She became confused about certain events. Regina leaned forward. Are you saying her confession was false? I'm saying she was manipulated by Lucia, my daughter-in-law, who saw an opportunity to take control of our family business. Tyler swore under his breath. Mother, what are you doing? But the documentation, Regina pressed. The security footage. Easily manipulated, Meredith waved dismissively. The truth is, Hanson Beauty was always a family enterprise. Lucia simply couldn't accept that she wasn't the center of attention. My phone started buzzing with notifications. The stock market was reacting, our share price fluctuating wildly. We have to respond, Fred said urgently. Right now. Paula straightened up, her face set. Yes, we do. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. Regina's producer? This is Paula Hansen. I need to go live, immediately. 20 minutes later, we were watching Paula on the same show, facing her mother via split screen. Mother, Paula's voice was steady. Stop lying. Darling, you're not well? I'm perfectly well. In fact, I'm healthier than I've ever been. Paula held up one of our products. This is the truth. Every ingredient, every formula. Lucia's grandmother taught me how to make it properly, with respect for the process and the plants. Paula, I'm naming my daughter Aurora, Paula continued, after the woman who showed me what real maternal love looks like, who taught me that success built on lies isn't success at all. Meredith's perfect mask cracked slightly. You're choosing them over your own mother? No, Mother, I'm choosing truth over lies, pride over shame, love over fear. Paula took a deep breath. And if you ever want to meet your granddaughter, you'll need to do the same. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Meredith disconnected without another word. Regina turned to Paula. That was incredibly powerful. It was necessary, Paula replied simply. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to work. We're harvesting lavender this morning. When the segment ended, Paula collapsed into Tyler's arms, shaking. Did I just do that? You did, he confirmed, holding her tight. And it was amazing. Fred was checking his phone. Social media's exploding. Support messages are pouring in. The stock's stabilizing. I touched Paula's shoulder. You okay? She wiped her eyes, managing a smile. You know what? I actually am. For the first time in my life, I feel free. The sun was rising over the lavender field, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Aurora would be waiting at the farmhouse with breakfast and wisdom, ready to teach us more about the plants and life itself. Come on, I said, picking up my harvesting basket. The lavender's waiting, and this time we're doing it right. Together, we walked into the field, leaving Meredith's lies behind us like morning mist burning away in the sun. She's perfect, I whispered, cradling baby Aurora in the hospital room while Paula rested. The newborn's tiny fingers wrapped around my thumb with surprising strength. Tyler leaned over my shoulder, gently touching his niece's dark curls. She looks just like Paula did as a baby. A soft knock at the door made us turn. My grandmother Aurora stood there, arms full of fresh flowers and homemade food. Behind her, surprisingly, was Meredith. The room fell silent. Paula stirred, opening her eyes. Mother? Meredith looked smaller somehow, less polished than usual. She carried a simple white gift bag. I saw the birth announcement in the society pages. You mean you saw it 6 hours ago when I was in labor? Paula's voice was tired but sharp. And you're just showing up now? Meredith faltered. I wasn't sure I'd be welcome. That depends, Paula said. Are you here as the woman who tried to destroy our business last month, or as a grandmother? Meredith's carefully composed expression cracked. I brought something. She pulled out an old, worn baby blanket from the gift bag. This was yours. I kept it all these years. Paula's eyes filled with tears. My butterfly blanket? I thought you threw it away when I turned 10. You said it wasn't sophisticated enough. I couldn't. Meredith's voice wavered. It was the last thing you loved before I started, before I made you think love had to be earned. I stood up, still holding baby Aurora. Would you like to hold your granddaughter? Meredith looked startled, then hesitant. I should probably go. Mother, Paula interrupted. Stay, please. As I placed the baby in Meredith's arms, my grandmother stepped forward. The blanket needs washing first, she said practically. I'll show you how to do it properly, with gentle herbs, for the baby's sensitive skin. Meredith looked up sharply, perhaps expecting judgment, but Aurora's face showed only kindness. "I'd like that," Meredith said softly. Tyler squeezed my hand as we watched the 3 generations of women gather around the baby. "Think there's hope?" he whispered. "There's always hope," I replied. "Sometimes it just needs time to bloom." Fred burst in, barely containing his excitement. "Sorry to interrupt, but you all need to see this." He held up his tablet, showing the latest market reports. Our skincare line had just been picked up by a major international retailer, with the condition that we maintain our ethical production methods and family-centered approach. "They love our story," Fred explained. "The authenticity, the reconciliation, the traditional methods. They want us to develop an entire legacy collection." Paula laughed. "Mother, remember how you said small batch production would never scale?" "I was wrong about many things," Meredith admitted, still cradling the baby. Perhaps you could show me how it's done properly?" My grandmother touched Meredith's shoulder. "First lesson, everything worthwhile takes time. Babies, healing, even face cream." "Speaking of face cream," I added, "we're harvesting roses tomorrow at dawn. The whole family is welcome." "Dawn?" Meredith looked horrified, then caught herself. I suppose I could try it. Once." "Wear comfortable shoes," Paula advised with a grin. "And prepare to get dirty." Baby Aurora chose that moment to cry, and we all watched as Meredith instinctively began to sway, humming softly. It was the most human I'd ever seen her. "You know," Tyler said quietly, "the Legacy Collection needs a proper launch event." "No more ballrooms," I warned. "No more pretense." "I was thinking the farm," he suggested. "Under the stars, surrounded by the herbs and flowers that make everything possible." "With Aurora's honey cookies," Paula added. "And my organic tea," my grandmother chimed in. Meredith looked around the room, then down at her granddaughter. "And perhaps I could share some stories about Paula as a baby, the real ones, not the society column versions." "I'd like that," Paula smiled. "All of it." As if in agreement, baby Aurora cooed, reaching up toward the window where the morning sun was streaming in. Outside, the hospital garden bloomed with the same herbs we used in our products, nature's reminder that growth was always possible. "Well then," I said, pulling out my phone to start planning. "Let's create something beautiful. Together." Tyler kissed my cheek. "Together sounds perfect." I looked around the room, at Paula's tired but happy face, at Meredith's tentative steps toward change, at my grandmother's knowing smile, at Fred's excited business plans, at Tyler's loving support, and at little Aurora, who represented all our hopes for the future. This was better than revenge, better than winning. This was family, messy and real and healing, like the gardens we tended and the products we created. Not perfect, but authentic, not flawless, but growing. And tomorrow at dawn, we'd all be in the fields together, harvesting roses and new beginnings, writing our legacy one genuine moment at a time. I always thought my wedding day would be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it became the moment I finally understood that my sister would never let me have anything that was truly mine. My name is Tessa, and 5 years ago, I stood in front of the mirror in my wedding dress, trying to calm my nerves before walking down the aisle. That's when Jade burst into the bridal suite, practically glowing with excitement. "Tess, oh my God, I have the most amazing news." She grabbed my hands, bouncing on her toes like we were teenagers again. "I'm pregnant." The world stopped spinning for a moment. I stared at her, my mouth going dry. "What?" "I know, right? I just found out this morning." She twirled in her bridesmaid dress, her perfect curls bouncing. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just couldn't keep it in anymore. Mom and Dad are going to flip. Jade, I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. Could you maybe wait until tomorrow to tell everyone? She looked at me like I'd suggested she jump off a bridge. But everyone's here now, the whole family. It's perfect timing. Before I could respond, my mother rushed in. Girls, we're almost ready to... She stopped, noticing Jade's expression. What's going on? Mom, Jade squealed. I'm having a baby. What followed was exactly what I'd feared. My mother burst into tears, hugging Jade while I stood there in my wedding dress, forgotten. Within minutes, the news spread through the bridal party, then to the guests already seated in the church. Antonio's waiting at the altar. Remington, my best friend and colleague, poked her head in. But everyone's talking about... She caught my eye and stopped. I gripped my bouquet tighter, the stems cracking under my fingers. Let's just get this over with. The ceremony was a blur. As I walked down the aisle, I heard the whispers, saw the excited glances thrown at Jade instead of me. Even during our vows, I caught my father looking at her, beaming with pride. At the reception, my father's speech somehow became more about his upcoming grandchild than his daughter's marriage. And while we're celebrating one blessing today, he said, raising his glass, we've been doubly blessed with the news of our first grandchild. The crowd erupted in cheers. Jade stood up, basking in the attention, while I sat there in my white dress, feeling invisible. You okay? Antonio squeezed my hand under the table. I forced a smile. Of course, it's wonderful news. Later during the father-daughter dance, Dad couldn't help himself. Your sister's going to need you more than ever now, he said. You've always been the responsible one, Tessa, the steady one. The steady one, the responsible one, never the special one. I know, Dad, I replied, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. The night wore on, and every conversation somehow circled back to Jade's news. Even my new mother-in-law cornered me to gush about how exciting it was to have a wedding and a baby announcement on the same day. Around midnight, I found myself hiding in the venue's bathroom, staring at my reflection. Remington found me there. Want me to kill her? She offered, only half joking. I know people. I laughed despite myself. She's pregnant. We can't kill a pregnant woman. Fine, we'll wait 9 months. She handed me a tissue. You know this is messed up, right? You're allowed to be angry. What's the point? I wiped my eyes carefully, preserving what was left of my makeup. This is just how it's always been. Jade does whatever Jade wants, and everyone acts like it's perfectly normal. It's not normal, Tess. It's... My phone buzzed, interrupting her. Mom's name flashed on the screen. If that's another excited update about Jade's morning sickness, I swear to God. Remington muttered. I answered, expecting exactly that. But my mother's voice was different this time, shaky, afraid. Tessa, are you sitting down? There's something we need to talk about. I caught Remington's eye, my heart suddenly racing. Mom, what's wrong? It's about Jade, she said, and for once, the mention of my sister's name didn't fill me with resignation. This time, it filled me with dread. The bathroom door swung open, letting in the muffled sound of the reception's music and laughter. I gripped the phone tighter, knowing somehow that whatever came next would change everything. Mom, I pressed. What about Jade? Her voice cracked. We need you to come home, right away. 5 years after my wedding, I sat in my parents' living room, staring at my sister's medical file spread across the coffee table. The same sister who had stolen my wedding spotlight was now dying of kidney failure. Both kidneys are failing, my mother explained, her voice trembling. The doctors say she needs a transplant within the next 6 months. And you've called me because... I already knew the answer, but I needed to hear it. Dad leaned forward in his armchair. You're the only match, Tessa. We've all been tested. Your mother, me, even some of Jade's close friends, but you're the only viable donor. The irony wasn't lost on me. After years of Jade taking everything from me, my body held the one thing she desperately needed. Where is she? I asked, noticing the unusual quiet in the house. At the hospital, Mom replied. She's been there for 3 days. The dialysis it's not going well. I picked up one of the medical reports, my therapy training helping me maintain a professional demeanor. And she knows you're asking me? She doesn't want us to, Dad admitted. She says she doesn't deserve to ask you for anything. Well, she's right about that. The words came out sharper than I intended. Tessa, Mom started, but I cut her off. No, let's be honest for once. When was the last time Jade considered my feelings about anything? The wedding? The countless birthdays she hijacked? That scholarship she took even though she knew I'd been working toward it for years? That was a long time ago, Dad defended. People change. My phone buzzed. A text from Antonio. Everything okay? Need backup? I typed back quickly. Not yet. We'll call soon. Tessa, Mom reached for my hand. I know things haven't always been fair. I pulled away. Fair? Mom, she announced her pregnancy at my wedding day. And she lost that baby 2 months later, Dad reminded me quietly. Maybe that's why she's been the way she is. She was like this long before that happened. I stood up, pacing the familiar living room. And you both enabled it. Still do. The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken truths. Through the window, I watched our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, watering her roses, the same roses I'd helped her plant when I was 12, while Jade was inside charming our parents into buying her a new phone. My phone buzzed again, this time from Remington. Remember, you don't owe anyone anything. Your body, your choice. The procedure, I finally said, turning back to my parents. What does it involve? Mom's face lit up with hope. The doctors can explain everything. It's very safe nowadays. I haven't said yes, I interrupted. I'm just asking. Dad stood up, approaching me carefully. Sweetheart, I know this is a lot to process, but she's your sister. Is she? I met his eyes. Because from where I'm standing, she's been more like a tornado that keeps destroying everything in my life while you two clean up after her. That's not fair, Mom protested. No, I picked up my purse. Tell me, if the situations were reversed, would Jade donate her kidney to me? Neither of them answered. They didn't have to. I need time to think, I said, heading for the door. She doesn't have much time, Tessa, Dad called after me. I paused at the doorway, my hand on the knob. For once in her life, Jade will have to wait for something she wants. That night, I dreamed of my wedding day again, but this time, when Jade announced her pregnancy, I didn't stay quiet. In the dream, I turned to her and said what I should have said 5 years ago. No, not today. Not everything gets to be about you. I woke up with tears on my face and Antonio's arms around me. You were talking in your sleep, he murmured. I was? Mm-hmm. You said no over and over. I sat up checking my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, 2 from Dad, and a text from an unknown number that made my heart stop. Tessa, it's Jade. I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but please, if you can find it in your heart to hear me out, I'm in room 415 at Memorial Hospital. I understand if you don't come. I wouldn't come if I were you. Antonio read the message over my shoulder. What are you going to do? I stared at the phone, feeling the weight of power shift for the first time in our relationship. I'm going to make her earn it. Earn what? My forgiveness, I said, getting out of bed. And my kidney. For the first time since my wedding day, I felt completely in control. Jade needed something only I could give her, and for once, she'd have to play by my rules. You're seriously considering this? Remington set her coffee mug down hard enough to make the break room table shake. We were between therapy sessions at the clinic where we both worked, and I'd just told her about my plan. Not considering. I've decided. I pulled up Jade's Instagram on my phone, still perfectly curated despite her illness, showing her hospital room transformed into what looked like a luxury hotel suite. Look at this, even dying she's performing. Remington leaned over. 200,000 likes on a hospital selfie? Your sister's really something else. She's an influencer now. Everything's content. I scrolled through the comments. So brave. Stay strong, Queen. Praying for you. If they only knew. And you want her to tell them? I want her to tell everyone the truth about everything. I locked my phone. That's my price. Antonio's voice came from the doorway. The truth about what, exactly? I turned to find my husband watching me with concern. He worked as a pediatrician in the same medical complex, and our lunch breaks often overlapped. About who she really is, I said. About what she's done. He sat down, unwrapping his sandwich. Tess, I get it, but using your kidney as leverage? That's cruel, I finished. More cruel than what she did to me? 2 wrongs don't make a right, he said gently. Remington snorted. No, but 3 lefts do. Sometimes people need a wake-up call. My next patient's file buzzed on my phone. Sarah, 16, struggling with an emotionally manipulative sister. The irony wasn't lost on me. I need to get back. I stood up. But think about it. Jade has built her whole brand on being this perfect, inspiring person. Maybe it's time her followers saw the real her. In my office, I couldn't focus on Sarah's session. As she talked about her sister's latest betrayal, I kept seeing parallels to my own situation. And then she told everyone at school that I tried to steal her boyfriend. Sarah wiped her eyes. But I didn't. He asked me for help with his college applications, that's all. I handed her a tissue. How did that make you feel? Like I wanted to hurt her back, Sarah admitted. Is that terrible? No, I said, perhaps too quickly. It's human to want justice. After Sarah left, I sat at my desk, staring at the degrees on my wall. Family therapist. Here I was, supposedly an expert in healing family relationships, plotting revenge against my own sister. My phone buzzed again. Mom. Jade's asking for you. Please come see her. I typed back. I'll come tomorrow. I have conditions. The response was immediate. Conditions? Tessa, she's your sister. Yes, and I'm her only hope. Tell her to be ready to talk at 10 a.m. That evening, I rehearsed what I'd say to Jade. Antonio found me pacing in our kitchen, talking to myself. You sound like you're preparing for court, he said, wrapping his arms around me from behind. Maybe I am, the court of public opinion. He turned me to face him. What happens if she says no? Then she doesn't get my kidney. And you could live with that? I pulled away. Could you live with letting someone who hurt you over and over just take a piece of you without any accountability? She's dying, Tess. She's been killing me slowly for years. The words echoed in our kitchen. Every time she took something that mattered to me, every time she made me feel small, every time our parents chose her, she's been killing the person I could have been. Antonio was quiet for a long moment. Just make sure this is really about accountability and not revenge. I went to bed early but couldn't sleep. Around midnight, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Hi, Tessa. This is Jennifer, Jade's old roommate from college. I heard about what's happening. There are some things you should know. I sat up, fully awake now. Jennifer had been Jade's best friend until they had a mysterious falling out 3 years ago. No one knew what happened, and Jade had blocked Jennifer on all social media. I'm listening, I typed back. Not over text. Can we meet? There's a lot you don't know about your sister. I thought about it for a moment. Coffee shop on 5th Street, 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll be there, and Tessa, don't let her manipulate you. Not again. I lay back down, my mind racing. What did Jennifer know? What else had Jade done that I didn't know about? Tomorrow, I'd meet Jennifer. Then I'd face my sister and lay out my terms. For once, Jade would have to face the consequences of her actions. As I finally drifted off, I thought about Sarah, my young patient, and her desire for justice. Sometimes I realized the kindest thing we can do for someone is to make them face their own truth, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Jennifer was already waiting when I arrived at the coffee shop, nervously shredding a napkin. She looked different from the polished sorority girl I remembered, more serious, with dark circles under her eyes. "Thanks for meeting me," she said as I sat down. "I've been following Jade's social media posts about her condition." "You mean her perfectly filtered hospital photo shoots?" Jennifer's laugh was bitter. "Some things never change. Did you know she stole my boyfriend's senior year?" I blinked. "What?" "That's not even the worst part." She pulled out her phone. "I've kept everything. Screenshots, texts, emails. I thought someday I'd need proof." She slid the phone across the table. What I saw made my coffee turn cold in my stomach. Screenshots of Jade's messages to Jennifer's then-boyfriend, dating back to when they were roommates. But it wasn't just about the boyfriend. There were messages about business ideas Jennifer had shared with Jade in confidence, which later became Jade's original social media ventures. She built her whole influencer career on stolen ideas. Jennifer's voice cracked. My ideas. And when I confronted her, she turned all our friends against me, said I was jealous, unstable. "Classic Jade," I muttered. "There's more." Jennifer took her phone back, scrolling. "Remember your wedding? The pregnancy announcement?" How could I forget? She wasn't pregnant. The world stopped. What? She bought a positive test online, planned the whole thing weeks in advance. I found the receipt in our apartment. Jennifer's hands shook. 2 months later, when she claimed she lost the baby, there was never any baby to lose. I gripped the table's edge, feeling sick. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I saw your parents' post asking for kidney donors, and She met my eyes. "I couldn't let her take something else from you without you knowing the whole truth." My phone buzzed. "Mom, where are you? Jade's waiting." "I have to go." I stood up. "Thank you, Jennifer, for everything." "Tessa?" She caught my arm. "Make her pay." The hospital corridor seemed longer than usual as I walked to Jade's room. My parents were waiting outside. "Finally," Mom started, but I walked past her without a word. Jade lay in her hospital bed, somehow still managing to look Instagram ready despite the IV lines. Her eyes widened when she saw my expression. "Everyone out," I said quietly. "Now, Tessa," Dad began. "Out." They left, closing the door behind them. Jade and I stared at each other in silence. "You look good," she tried. "Shut up." I pulled out my phone, showing her Jennifer's screenshots. "Want to explain?" Her face went pale. "You talked to Jennifer? Fake pregnancy announcement at my wedding? Stealing her ideas? Tell me, Jade, is there anything real about you?" "I can explain." "No." I cut her off. "For once in your life, you're gonna listen. I have your matching kidney. If you want it, here are my terms." She swallowed hard, nodding. "You're going to post a video, a real one, no filters, no script. You're going to tell your followers everything. The wedding, Jennifer, all of it, every lie, every manipulation." "That would destroy my career," she whispered. "Should have thought about that before you built it on lies." "Please, Tessa." "I'm not finished. After the video, you're going to tell Mom and Dad everything, too. They deserve to know who they've been defending all these years." Tears rolled down her cheeks. They'll hate me. Welcome to my world. A nurse knocked, entering with medication. I stood up to leave. You have until tomorrow to decide, I said. Your kidney, your choice. In the hallway, my parents waited anxiously. What's going on? Mom demanded. Jade's crying. Ask her, I replied. For once in your lives, ask her the real questions. I was halfway to the elevator when Jade's voice came over the hospital PA system. Tessa, wait, please come back. People in the hallway turned to stare. I kept walking. I'll do it. Her voice echoed through the building. I'll tell everyone everything. Just please, please don't leave. I stopped, my hand on the elevator button. Behind me, I heard confused murmurs from hospital staff and visitors. My parents stood frozen in the hallway, looking bewildered. Slowly, I turned around. Jade had dragged herself and her IV pole to her doorway, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. You're right, about everything. I'll do whatever you want. Just, please don't let me die. For the first time in our lives, I saw my sister without her carefully constructed mask. No filters, no performance, just raw, desperate truth. I walked back toward her room, past our shocked parents, past the staring nurses. Get your phone, I told her. It's time to start filming. Hey everyone, Jade's voice trembled as she spoke to her phone's camera. No filters today, no editing, just truth. I stood in the corner of her hospital room, arms crossed, while our parents sat stunned in the visitors' chairs. The heart rate monitor beeped steadily in the background. I've built my entire social media presence on a lie, she continued. Actually, I've built my entire life on lies, and it's time to come clean. She glanced at me. I nodded for her to continue. 5 years ago at my sister's wedding, I announced I was pregnant. The truth is, I wasn't. Her voice cracked. I bought a fake test, planned the whole thing just to steal her spotlight. And when I pretended to lose the baby 2 months later, I used that for attention too. Mom gasped. Dad's face went ashen. But that's not all. Jade wiped her tears. My successful business ideas, stolen from my college roommate Jennifer, my perfect life, carefully curated lies. The confession went on for 15 minutes. With each revelation, our parents seemed to physically shrink in their chairs. When Jade finally finished, her follower count was already dropping by the thousands. Comments are coming in, she whispered, staring at her phone. Unfollow. Disgusting. Cancel her. She looked up at me. Happy now? Before I could answer, the door burst open. A hospital PR representative rushed in, looking panicked. Miss Brewer, we're getting calls from media outlets. This video is going viral. Good, I said. Not good, she countered. Your sister's medical condition is now public knowledge, and there are allegations of organ donation coercion. This could become a legal nightmare. My stomach dropped. I hadn't considered that angle. Mom finally found her voice. Jade, how could you? The pregnancy, the wedding? I'm sorry, Jade whispered. Sorry doesn't begin to cover it. Dad stood up, looking older than I'd ever seen him. We defended you. For years we defended you. Dad, no. He held up his hand. I can't even look at you right now. They left the room, Mom sobbing, Dad supporting her. The PR representative followed, already on her phone with damage control. Jade's phone kept buzzing with notifications. My sponsors are dropping me, she said numbly. Everything I built? You mean everything you stole? You've ruined my life. No, I corrected her. You ruined your life. I just made you admit it. A new notification popped up on her phone. She stared at it, then started laughing, a hollow, desperate sound. What? I asked. It's trending. Jade Brewer is over party. She showed me the screen. But look at the comments under it. I took the phone. Among the hate and cancellation posts were other stories. Women sharing their experiences with toxic siblings, stories of wedding disasters, stolen opportunities, family betrayals. "You've started something," Jade said quietly. "But maybe I can make it mean something." "What are you talking about?" She sat up straighter, wiping her eyes. What if, what if I used this? Really used it? Not for attention or likes, but to start a conversation about accountability, about toxic family dynamics? I scoffed. More manipulation? No, she met my eyes. Real this time, raw, honest, a movement about owning our mistakes and making amends. She grabbed her phone, hands shaking. I could go live right now, talk about why I did what I did, about growing up always feeling like I needed to be the center of attention, about therapy, about change. And this has nothing to do with saving your image? It has everything to do with saving my life, not just the kidney, my actual life, being honest for once. She looked at me pleadingly. "Will you help me?" Before I could answer, Jennifer appeared in the doorway. "I saw the video," she said. "Everyone's seeing it." Jade's face crumpled. "Jennifer, Save it." Jennifer walked in, pulling up a chair. "But I heard what you just said about starting a movement, about accountability." She glanced at me. Maybe it's not the worst idea. My phone buzzed, a text from Antonio. "Have you seen Twitter? This is bigger than you and Jade now." I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Behind the fear and desperation, I saw something I'd never seen before, a glimmer of genuine remorse. "If we do this," I said slowly, "it has to be real. No more performances." Jade nodded eagerly. "I promise." "And you'll get professional help?" "Already asked the nurse for therapist recommendations." Jennifer and I exchanged looks. The heart monitor kept its steady rhythm as we stood on the edge of something that felt bigger than our personal drama. "Okay," I finally said, "let's go live." "We're trending in 27 countries," Remington announced, walking into Jade's hospital room with her laptop. 2 weeks had passed since the initial confession video, and what started as a scandal had evolved into something none of us expected. "The Today Show called again," Jennifer added, not looking up from her phone. She'd become our unofficial media coordinator. "They want both of you on Monday." Jade adjusted her hospital bed to sit up straighter. Despite the dialysis treatments, she looked stronger, more present. Maybe it was the weight of secrets lifting from her shoulders. "What do you think?" she asked me. "Should we do it?" Before I could answer, a notification pinged on the room's TV, which was streaming comments from our latest live session. "My sister stole my college fund and my parents still defend her." Jade read aloud. "Your story gave me the courage to finally confront them." "That's the 5th story like that today," Jennifer noted. I watched another comment scroll past. "Started therapy because of searing sisterhood accountability. Thank you for showing me it's okay to set boundaries." "We should do the show," I decided. "But no makeup team, no wardrobe styling. We do this our way." Jade nodded. "Raw and real." A knock at the door interrupted us. Mom stood there, looking uncertain. "Can I come in?" The room fell silent. We hadn't seen our parents since the confession video. They'd been processing, according to their texts. "Of course," Jade said softly. Mom walked in slowly, taking in the laptops, phones, and makeshift media center we'd created in the hospital room. "I've been watching your videos," she said. "All of them. The lives, the discussions about family dynamics." She took a shaky breath. "I owe you both an apology." "Mom," Jade started. "No, let me finish." Mom pulled up a chair. "I failed you, Jade, by never holding you accountable. And Tessa?" Her voice broke. I failed you by making you feel less important, less special. You were always the strong one because we never gave you a choice to be anything else. Remington quietly gathered her things. We'll give you guys some space. She and Jennifer slipped out, leaving us with our mother. Where's Dad? I asked. Still struggling, Mom admitted, but he's watching too. He even joined one of those online support groups for parents dealing with family conflict. Jade's phone buzzed. Another media request. She ignored it. I'm sorry, Mom, she said, for making you and Dad look foolish, for manipulating everyone. I'm sorry too, I added, for using the kidney as leverage. Don't apologize for that, Mom surprised us by saying. Sometimes it takes something dramatic to break unhealthy patterns. Look what you've created. She gestured to the TV, where the hashtag Sisterhood Accountability was still trending. Stories poured in from around the world. Sisters confronting decades of rivalry, families beginning healing processes, people seeking therapy. We're getting messages from psychologists wanting to contribute, I explained. They're offering professional perspectives on sibling dynamics, family trauma. And people are actually listening, Jade added. Not just for the drama, but for the healing. A notification popped up on my phone, a message from one of my therapy clients. Watched your live session with your sister. Finally told my parents about my brother's bullying. They're getting him help. Mom read it over my shoulder. You two have started something important. We're thinking of turning it into a foundation, Jade said, using my platform for actual good this time, supporting family therapy programs, funding counseling for people who can't afford it, with proper credit to the people whose ideas we use, I added pointedly. Jade managed a small smile. Obviously. The door opened again. This time it was Antonio with lunch. Brought enough for everyone, he said, then noticed Mom. Oh, hello. Stay, Mom stood up. I should go anyway. Your father? We're having our first therapy session this afternoon. As she headed for the door, she turned back. Girls, I'm proud of you. Both of you. For different reasons. After she left, we divided up the sandwiches Antonio brought. Jade picked at hers, looking thoughtful. What is it? I asked. The Today Show appearance, she said. I want to use it to announce something. The foundation? No. She met my eyes. I want to tell everyone that I'm declining your kidney. Antonio dropped his sandwich. What? I can't take it, Jade continued. Not even with the confession, not even with the movement we've started. It needs to be my choice to face consequences. I stared at my sister, this new version of her I was just getting to know. The doctors say I can survive on dialysis while I wait for another donor, she added. It might take years, but maybe I need those years to prove I've really changed. Antonio squeezed my hand as I processed this. You'd do that? I asked. Give up a guaranteed donation? Jade nodded. It's time I saved myself instead of taking from others. For the first time in our lives, I saw my sister clearly, and she saw herself. The Today Show studio was smaller than I expected. Jade sat beside me on the interview couch, both of us makeup-free as promised. The host, Maria, adjusted her earpiece as the producer counted down. 3, 2, 1. We're here with sisters Tessa and Jade, whose viral story about kidney donation and family accountability has sparked a global conversation. Maria began, Ladies, thank you for being here. Thank you for having us, I replied, feeling the heat of the studio lights. Jade, let's start with you. You're declining your sister's kidney donation. Why? Jade took a deep breath. Because true accountability means accepting consequences. I've spent my whole life taking from others, especially Tessa, taking her moments, her opportunities. I can't take her kidney too. Even if it means waiting years for another donor? Even then, Jade's voice was steady. Our movement, just sisterhood accountability, isn't just about confessing past wrongs. It's about doing the work to become better. Maria turned to me. Tessa, how do you feel about your sister's decision? Before I could answer, a commotion erupted backstage. Through the studio doors, I saw our father pushing past security. Sir, you can't, a producer started. Those are my daughters. Dad's voice carried across the set. Maria looked uncertainly at the cameras. Should we cut? No, I said, standing up. Let him come. Dad walked onto the set, looking lost under the bright lights. He hadn't shaved in days, and his eyes were red-rimmed. I'm sorry to interrupt, he said, but I've been watching everything from home, and I couldn't stay silent anymore. The studio was absolutely quiet. Even the cameramen seemed to be holding their breath. Dad? Jade's voice was small. He turned to face the cameras. I'm these girls' father, and I need to be part of this accountability movement too, because I failed them both. Maria, ever the professional, gestured to an empty chair. Would you like to join us? Dad sat down heavily. I watched my youngest daughter hurt my oldest daughter over and over, and instead of stopping it, I made excuses. I told Tessa to be understanding, to be the bigger person. I put the responsibility of keeping peace on a child who deserved to be protected. Tears rolled down Jade's cheeks. I felt my own eyes burning. And Jade, he continued, I failed you by never teaching you consequences. I thought I was showing love, but I was teaching you that it was okay to hurt people, that you wouldn't have to face the results of your actions. Maria handed him a tissue. You've been in therapy since this started? 3 times a week, Dad nodded, learning about enabling, about healthy family dynamics. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, looking at my own failures as a father. It wasn't all failures, I found myself saying. You loved us. Love isn't enough, he replied. You have to love people the right way, the way that helps them grow. Jade reached for his hand. Dad, no, let me finish. He straightened in his chair. I've made a decision too. I'm going to get tested as a kidney donor. What? Jade and I said simultaneously. You're my daughter, Jade. If anyone should make this sacrifice for you, it should be me, not your sister who you've already taken so much from. The studio lights suddenly felt too bright. Maria leaned forward, sensing the moment. Would you be willing to share this journey with our viewers? The testing process, the therapy, the healing of your family? I looked at Jade, then at our father. Something was shifting, like tectonic plates finally finding their proper alignment. Yes, Jade said firmly, but not as content, not as entertainment, as truth. Raw and real, I added, echoing our new motto. Dad squeezed Jade's hand. Together this time, the right way. Maria turned to the camera. We'll take a quick break and be right back with more from this extraordinary family. As soon as the red lights on the cameras went dark, Dad pulled both of us into a hug. It was awkward and tearful and real, everything our family had never allowed itself to be. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a message from Jennifer. Twitter's exploding. Your dad just took the Mauer sisterhood accountability to family accountability. Another message popped up from Remington. This is what healing looks like. Real, messy, unscripted healing. The producer started counting down again. We pulled apart, wiping our eyes. Ready to keep going? Maria asked gently. I looked at my sister and my father, seeing them clearly for perhaps the first time. No masks, no performances, no desperate grabs for attention or approval. Just 3 people doing the hard work of becoming better. Ready, we said together. The red lights blinked on, and we continued our story, not for views or likes or trending hashtags, but for truth, for healing, for hope. Testing complete, Dr. Rivera announced, looking up from her tablet. Congratulations, sir. You're a match. Dad gripped the arms of his chair in the consultation room. Jade reached for his hand while I sat nearby, still processing the news. What are the risks? Mom asked from her corner seat. Given his age and health, moderate, but manageable. Dr. Rivera turned to Dad. The choice is yours. No, Dad said firmly. The choice is Jade's. My sister looked startled. What do you mean? I'm offering my kidney, he explained. But you need to decide if you're ready to accept it. Really ready. The accountability movement we'd started had grown beyond us. Our foundation now funded therapy for hundreds of families. Support groups had sprung up worldwide. But this was still deeply personal. I've been in therapy for 3 months, Jade said slowly, working on my narcissistic tendencies, my need for attention, my history of manipulation. She squeezed Dad's hand. But I don't want to accept your kidney just to prove I've changed. Then why would you accept it? I asked. She met my eyes. Because I want to live, not for followers or fame or approval. Just live. Do better. Be better. Dr. Rivera cleared her throat. We don't need an answer today. You can— Yes, Jade interrupted. I accept, if you're sure, Dad. He nodded. I've never been more sure of anything. Mom started crying. Dr. Rivera began explaining the procedure schedule, but a commotion outside the office interrupted her. Jennifer burst in, waving her tablet. Sorry to interrupt, but you all need to see this. She pulled up a video that was trending. A teenage girl speaking directly to camera. Because of the Brewer Sisters movement, I finally told my parents about my brother's abuse. He's getting help now. We all are. Thank you for showing us that families can heal. Another video started automatically after it. Watching Jade decline her sister's kidney taught me that sometimes love means not taking something, even if it's offered. I finally stopped letting my mom guilt me into giving her money she'll never pay back. And another? My father's watching these videos about family accountability. Yesterday, he apologized to me for the first time in my life. The room fell silent as we watched story after story unfold. This is bigger than us now, I said quietly. But it started with us, Jade replied, with you forcing me to face myself. With you choosing to change, I corrected. Dad cleared his throat. Dr. Rivera, how soon can we schedule the surgery? Given the test results, we could do it next week. No, Jade said firmly. Not until after the Foundation's first family therapy retreat. I promised to speak there. I smiled, recognizing this new version of my sister, one who kept her commitments to others. 2 weeks then, Dr. Rivera made some notes. I'll have my team contact you with details. As we left the hospital, reporters were waiting outside. They'd been following our story since the Today Show appearance. Any comment on the test results? Is it true you're a match? Dad stepped forward. Yes, I'm a match, and yes, we're proceeding with the transplant. But more importantly, he looked at Jade and me. We're proceeding with healing, the right way this time. Later that evening, we gathered at my parents' house. Antonio brought dinner, Remington brought wine, and sparkling cider for Jade, who couldn't drink before surgery. And Jennifer brought her laptop to show us the latest foundation statistics. Over 10,000 families have signed up for sponsored therapy, she reported, and the accountability workshops are booked solid for 6 months. Speaking of accountability, Jade set down her glass. There's something I need to say. She turned to face me. Thank you, Tessa, not for offering your kidney, for refusing to let me have it without earning it, for making me face myself. You did the hard part, I said. No, she shook her head. You did the hard part for years, watching me take and take, being the understanding one. I'm sorry it took almost dying for me to see it. Mom wiped her eyes. We're all seeing things clearly now. To clarity, Antonio raised his glass. And to healing. To healing? We echoed. My phone buzzed. A message from Sarah, my teenage patient. Saw your sister's latest video about choosing change. Finally stood up to my sister today. Thank you for showing me how. I showed the message to Jade. She smiled, a real smile, not her old camera-ready one. We're going to keep helping people, aren't we? She asked. Yes, I said, but this time we do it together, as equals. Dad wrapped an arm around each of us. Through the window, I could see Mrs. Patterson's roses blooming in the evening light, the same roses I'd helped plant all those years ago. Some things take time to grow, I realized. Some things have to break through hard ground to reach the sun. But with truth, with work, with real love, everything can bloom eventually, even us, especially us.
The text message from Daniel lit up my phone screen at 2 a.m. Tiff, you might want to keep an eye on the financial news tomorrow. What goes around comes around. I stared at those words, remembering the exact moment my world shattered 3 years ago. The memory is still fresh, like a wound that refuses to heal properly. My name is Tiffany, and I was married to Lucas for 8 years before he decided to blow up our lives. It happened on a Tuesday evening of all days. I'd just finished a video call with a supplier for my online boutique when Lucas walked into our home office, looking like he'd aged 10 years in a single day. We need to talk, he said, loosening his tie. Those 4 words made my stomach drop. I followed him to our living room, where the setting sun cast long shadows across our wedding photos. What's wrong? He paced, running his hands through his hair. I don't know how to say this. Just say it, Lucas. I'm in love with someone else. He stopped pacing, finally meeting my eyes. With Luna. The room started spinning. Luna! My sister Luna! It just happened, Tiff. We didn't mean for it to... I cut him off with a laugh that sounded more like a sob. My little sister? Are you fucking kidding me? We've been seeing each other for 6 months, he continued, as if that somehow made it better. She understands me in a way. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare try to justify this. My phone buzzed. A text from Luna. I'm so sorry, can we talk? She's texting me right now, isn't she? Lucas asked, stepping closer. I backed away. Stay away from me. Both of you just stay away. Tiff, please, we need to handle this like adults. Like adults? I grabbed the nearest thing, a crystal vase he'd given me for our anniversary, and hurled it at the wall. It shattered spectacularly. Is that adult enough for you? He flinched. You're being hysterical. Hysterical? I laughed again, this time with real venom. My husband and sister have been fucking behind my back for 6 months, and I'm being hysterical. My phone started ringing. Hannah, my best friend. I ignored it. We didn't want to hurt you, Lucas said softly. It just happened. Things don't just happen, Lucas. You make choices. Both of you made choices. He sat heavily on our leather couch. I'll move out tonight. Stay with Daniel for a while. Your brother knows, Lucas nodded slowly. He doesn't approve. At least someone in this mess has a moral compass. I walked to our liquor cabinet and poured myself a generous glass of whiskey. How long were you planning to wait before telling me? Luna wanted to tell you weeks ago. I was afraid. I took a long sip. Afraid of what? Losing your comfortable life? Your reputation? Afraid of hurting you? Well, congratulations on failing spectacularly at that. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my mother. Luna's crying her eyes out. What did you say to her? I showed Lucas the message. Looks like my sister's already playing victim. Don't be like that. She's really torn up about this. Get out. My voice was eerily calm now. Get your things and get out. He stood up slowly. Tiff. And tell Luna she can keep the Cartier bracelet I gave her for her birthday. Consider it a parting gift for destroying my marriage. Lucas packed a bag in silence while I sat in the kitchen drinking whiskey and ignoring the constant stream of messages on my phone. When he finally walked to the door, he paused. "I really am sorry," he said. "I never meant for any of this to happen. You know what the worst part is?" I looked him straight in the eye. "I actually believe you, but that makes it even worse because you're not even brave enough to own your decisions." After he left, I called Hannah. "I'm coming over," she said before I could speak, "and I'm bringing wine." "Bring the expensive stuff," I replied. "Apparently I'm about to be single again." "I know. Daniel called me." She paused. "He's furious with Lucas." "Good to know someone is." I finished my whiskey. "Did you know?" "God, no, I would have told you immediately," she sighed. "Want me to key Luna's car while I'm at it?" Despite everything, I smiled. "No, but ask me again tomorrow." After hanging up, I walked to our bedroom, my bedroom now, and started pulling Lucas's clothes from the closet. Each item joined a growing pile on the floor, and with each addition, I felt a little stronger. My phone buzzed one final time. Another message from Daniel. "I've got your back, Tiff. Always have, always will." I looked at the growing pile of Lucas's belongings and made a decision. Tomorrow I'd donate everything to Goodwill. Tonight I'd let myself break. But after that, I'd make damn sure that losing me was the biggest mistake of Lucas's life. 6 months after Lucas left, I was sitting in my newly rented office space surrounded by boxes of inventory when Hannah burst through the door waving a magazine. "Have you seen this?" she demanded, slapping the glossy publication on my desk. There they were, splashed across the society pages, Lucas and Luna at some charity gala, her hand possessively on his arm, both of them beaming at the camera. The headline read, "Securities firm heir and fashion entrepreneur make stunning couple at annual children's hospital benefit." "Fashion entrepreneur?" I scoffed. "She has a Pinterest board and calls herself an influencer." Hannah perched on my desk. "You okay?" "Honestly?" I gestured at the boxes around us. "I'm too busy to care. The online orders have tripled since last month." "That's because your designs are amazing." Hannah picked up one of our signature blazers. "Speaking of which, Willie called me. He wants to meet with you." I stopped typing. "Willie Wolfe was practically fashion royalty in our city." "What? Why?" "Because your stuff is good, dummy. Really good." She tossed the magazine in the trash. "He's hosting a dinner tonight. I already told him you'd come." "Hannah, get dressed. We're going shopping." She pulled me from my chair. "And no arguing. You need this." 4 hours later, I was sitting across from Willie in one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, trying not to fidget with my wine glass. "So," Willie said, studying me over his reading glasses, "tell me about your vision." I took a deep breath. I believe in accessible luxury, clothes that make women feel powerful without bankrupting them. "And how's that working out?" "We're growing faster than I can handle," I admitted. "I need more space, more staff, more everything." Willie nodded slowly. "I saw your ex-sister-in-law wearing one of your designs last month. Didn't credit you, of course." "Of course not." I sipped my wine. "She probably forgot where she bought it." "Stole it, you mean?" His eyes twinkled. "Daniel told me what happened." I stiffened. "You know Daniel?" "I know everyone worth knowing in this city, dear." He leaned forward. "Including people who could help you scale your business properly." My heart started racing. "I'm listening." "I'm hosting a fashion show next month. I want your collection in it." I nearly choked on my wine. "What?" "Your designs are fresh, practical, and beautifully made. With the right backing, you could be huge." He pulled out a business card. "Come to my office tomorrow. We'll talk details." Later that night, I called Daniel. "Did you have something to do with this?" I demanded when he answered. "Hello to you too," he laughed. "And maybe I mentioned your name to Willie, but he already knew about you. Why are you helping me?" There was a long pause. "Because what they did was wrong. And because you deserve better." My phone beeped with another call. My mother. I ignored it. "She's still taking Luna's side?" Daniel asked. "When isn't she?" I sighed. "Apparently I'm being difficult by not attending family dinners anymore." "Screw that. Come to dinner with me instead. I'm meeting Willie and some investors tomorrow night." The next morning, I walked into Willie's office clutching my portfolio. His assistant led me to a conference room where Willie sat with 3 other people. "Ah, perfect timing," Willie said. "We were just discussing investment strategies." 4 hours later, I emerged with a business plan, financial backing, and a spot in next month's fashion show. My phone had 7 missed calls from Luna. I finally answered on the 8th ring. "What do you want, Luna?" "Mom says you're working with Willie Wolf now." Her voice was tight. "How did that happen?" "Hard work. You should try it sometime." "That's not fair. I work hard." "At what? Posting Instagram stories about other people's designs?" "You're just jealous because Lucas and I are happy," she snapped. I laughed. "Honey, I'm successful. You're just dating my leftovers." There was a sharp intake of breath. "You're being cruel." "No, cruel is sleeping with your sister's husband. This is just business." I hung up and walked to the full-length mirror in my office. The woman staring back at me looked different from the one who'd thrown that crystal vase 6 months ago. Stronger, sharper. My phone buzzed with a text from Hannah. "Saw the announcement about the fashion show. Drinks tonight to celebrate." I smiled and typed back, "Can't. Business dinner with investors." "Look at you all fancy now. Better not forget the little people when you're famous." "Never. But I might conveniently forget to invite certain family members to my shows," Hannah replied with a string of laughing emojis. I looked at my reflection again and straightened my blazer, one of my own designs. In the glass, I could see the skyline of the city behind me, full of possibilities and promise. "Watch me," I whispered to my reflection. "Just watch me now." "They want to manufacture in Bangladesh," Willie said, sliding the contract across his desk. "The profit margins would be incredible." I stared at the numbers. He wasn't wrong. We'd make 3 times what we were currently earning. But something felt off. "What about the working conditions?" I asked. Willie shrugged. "It's how the industry works, dear." "Not my industry," I pushed the contract back. "I built this brand on ethical production. I'm not changing that now." He smiled like he'd been expecting this response. "Good girl. That was a test and you passed." "A test?" "I needed to know if success would change your principles." He pulled out another contract. "These manufacturers are in Portugal. Better working conditions, smaller margins, but still profitable." I was reading through the new contract when Hannah burst in. "Turn on the news," she said, grabbing the remote from Willie's desk. The financial channel filled the massive screen on Willie's wall. Lucas was giving a press conference looking polished in one of his expensive suits. "Our firm is proud to announce record profits this quarter," he was saying. "We're expanding into emerging markets." "Emerging markets?" Willie scoffed. "More like risky gambles." I turned to him. "What do you mean?" "Your ex-husband is playing with fire. Daniel's been trying to warn him." My phone buzzed. Speak of the devil. "Daniel?" "Are you watching this circus?" he asked. "Yeah. What's really going on?" "He's leveraged the firm to hell and back. Luna's encouraging him, saying they need to think big." I could hear the frustration in his voice. I tried to stop him, but he won't listen. After hanging up, I found Willie watching me carefully. "Don't get distracted," he warned. "Focus on your show next week." I am focused. I signed the Portugal contract. And I'm doubling our order. That evening, I was reviewing designs in my office when my mother showed up unannounced. "You missed Sunday dinner again," she said, sitting down uninvited. "I was working." "You're always working." She picked up a sketch. "Luna misses you." I snatched the sketch back. Funny how she didn't miss me when she was sleeping with my husband. "Ex-husband," she corrected. "And they're in love. When are you going to accept that and move on?" "I have moved on. This," I gestured around the office, "is me moving on." "By competing with your sister?" "I'm not competing with anyone. I'm building something real, not riding someone else's coattails." "Luna says you're trying to sabotage her influencer career," I laughed. "By doing what? Making clothes she copies?" "She has real talent. No, Mum. She has my old life, my old contacts, and apparently my old moral compass." I stood up. "I have a meeting. Tiffany, please, she's your sister." Was my sister. Now she's just someone I used to know. After she left, I called Hannah. "Want to hear something funny?" I asked when she answered. Always. Apparently I'm sabotaging Luna's career by checks notes being successful. That's rich coming from Miss, I'll just post other people's designs and call myself creative. Mom thinks I should play nice. Your mom thinks the sun shines out of Luna's ass. Hannah paused. Speaking of Luna, have you seen her latest post? I pulled up Instagram. Luna had posted a photo of herself in one of my designs, a dress from the new collection that hadn't even launched yet. How did she get that sample? I demanded. Check the caption, Hannah said grimly. Under the photo, Luna had written, "Sneak peek of my upcoming collection. So excited to share my designs with you all." My hands were shaking as I dialed Willie. "Someone leaked my designs," I said when he answered. "I know. I'm already on it." His voice was steel. "The sample's been traced. One of the new seamstresses was paid to steal it." "Luna?" "Through a third party, but yes. Want me to handle it?" I thought about my mother's plea for family harmony, about Luna's smug Instagram caption, about principles and karma and justice. "Yes," I said. "Handle it." An hour later, Luna's Instagram post was gone, replaced by a formal apology and retraction. The seamstress was fired, and I had learned a valuable lesson about trust. Willie called again that evening. "The show's been moved up," he said. "We're doing it in 3 days." "What? Why?" "Because strike while the iron's hot, dear. Your sister's little stunt just gave us free publicity. Let's use it." I looked at the wall of my office where I'd pinned my favourite design, a power suit that had started this whole journey. 3 days, I repeated. "Let's do it." "That's my girl." He paused. "Oh, and Tiffany, I've seated Luna and Lucas in the front row." "Why?" "Because success is the best revenge, and I want them to have an excellent view of yours." "The SEC is asking questions," Daniel said, sliding into the booth across from me at our usual coffee spot. "Lucas is in trouble." I stirred my latte absently. "How bad?" "Bad enough that he's drinking at noon." Daniel glanced around before lowering his voice. "He's been falsifying reports, Tiff, making the firm look more stable than it is." "And Luna?" "She's been pushing him to take bigger risks. They bought a new house last month, $7 million. I nearly choked on my coffee. $7 million. Money they don't have. He ran a hand through his hair. "I tried warning him again yesterday. He threw me out of his office." My phone buzzed with a notification. Luna had posted another Instagram story, this time criticizing unethical business practices in the fashion industry. A thinly veiled attack on my company. "She's getting desperate," Hannah said, joining us with her own coffee. "The fashion blogs are starting to question her credibility after the design theft scandal." Daniel leaned forward. "Speaking of scandals, you might want to watch your back. Lucas has been asking about your suppliers." "Let him ask." I showed them my phone displaying an email from Vogue. "They're featuring my collection next month." Hannah squealed and hugged me. "Finally, the big leagues!" "Willie's influence?" Daniel asked. "My designs, Willie's connections," I corrected. "There's a difference." My phone rang. My mother again. I declined the call. "Still not talking to her?" Hannah asked. "She sent me a 3-page text about how I'm destroying Luna's dreams." I rolled my eyes. "Apparently, my success is making Luna depressed." "Your success is making Luna face reality," Daniel muttered. Just then, a breaking news alert flashed across the cafe's TV screen. Lucas's firm was facing an investigation over financial irregularities. Daniel's phone immediately started ringing. "That's Lucas. I should take this." He stepped outside, leaving Hannah and me watching the news coverage. "You okay?" Hannah asked softly. "Honestly, I feel nothing." I watched Lucas's face on the screen, remembering when I used to know every expression, every gesture. It's like watching a stranger's life implode. Hannah squeezed my hand. "That's progress." Daniel returned, looking grim. "He's panicking. Wants me to transfer some of my assets to help cover their positions." "Tell me you said no," I said. "Of course I said no. I'm not going down with that ship." He checked his watch. "I have to get back to the office. Just be careful, Tiff. They're both getting desperate." After he left, Hannah turned to me. What do you think they'll do? Something stupid. I pulled out my laptop, which is why I'm calling my lawyer. That afternoon, I was in a meeting with Willie when my assistant rushed in. Luna's outside, she said. She's demanding to see you. Willie raised an eyebrow. Want me to have security remove her? No. I stood up. I'll handle this. Luna was pacing my reception area, looking expensively disheveled. Finally! Do you know how long I've been waiting? Do you know how many appointments I have? I countered. What do you want? This vendetta needs to stop, she snapped. Your success is built on destroying my reputation. My success is built on talent and hard work. Your reputation was destroyed when you stole my designs. I made one mistake. You made several, starting with Lucas. She flinched. That's different. We're in love. Are you? Or are you in love with his money? I stepped closer. Money that's apparently disappearing fast. Her face paled. You don't know anything. I know the SEC is investigating. I know you bought a house you can't afford. And I know you're here because you're scared. I'm here because you're my sister, she said, her voice breaking. Doesn't that mean anything? It meant everything. Until you proved it meant nothing to you. She grabbed my arm. Please, Tiffany, we need help. I carefully removed her hand. No, what you need is a reality check. And it looks like you're about to get one. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Her voice turned bitter. Watching us struggle while you succeed. I'm not enjoying anything. I'm just living my life. I walked to my office door. Something you should try doing without stealing from others. Mum was right, she spat. Success has made you cruel. No, Luna. Betrayal made me strong. There's a difference. I opened the door. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a business to run. After she left, Willie appeared in my doorway. Well handled. You heard? Every word. He smiled. You've come a long way from that woman who walked into my office a year ago. I looked out my window at the city skyline. I had good teachers. The best revenge is success, I finished. I know. No, he corrected. The best revenge is watching them realize what they lost. My phone buzzed with another news alert about Lucas's firm. From my window, I could see Luna's expensive car pulling away from the curb. Well, I said, looks like they're about to realize exactly that. The news broke on a Wednesday morning. I was in a design meeting when Hannah burst into the room, her face ashen. Turn on CNBC, she said, grabbing the remote. The headline scrolled across the bottom of the screen. Palmer Securities under federal investigation. CEO Lucas Palmer steps down amid fraud allegations. My phone immediately exploded with notifications. Daniel's message came first. It's worse than we thought. They're freezing all assets. Willie appeared in my doorway. Your office. Now. I followed him, leaving my stunned design team behind. Inside my office, he turned on multiple news channels simultaneously. Their house has been seized, Willie said, pointing to one screen showing footage of police cars outside Lucas and Luna's mansion. The feds moved fast. My mother called, then called again, and again. You should answer, Willie advised, before she shows up here. I picked up on the fourth call. Hello, Mom? Have you seen the news? She was crying. They're saying terrible things about Lucas. Luna's devastated. They're saying true things about Lucas, I corrected. There's a difference. They need help, Tiffany. They need family. Like I needed family when they betrayed me. She paused. That was different. No, Mom, it wasn't. I watched another news channel showing Lucas being escorted from his office. They made their choices. They're freezing Luna's accounts, too. She has nothing. She has you, I said coldly. That's always been enough before. After hanging up, I found Hannah watching me carefully. You okay? She asked. I should be celebrating, I admitted. But I just feel empty. My phone buzzed again, an unknown number. I answered cautiously. Tiffany. It was Lucas. He sounded broken. Please don't hang up. What do you want? I messed up. Everything's gone. The house, the cars, our accounts. That tends to happen when you commit fraud. He made a sound between a laugh and a sob. I deserve that. But Luna doesn't. Please, she needs... Don't. My voice was ice. Don't you dare try to use my sister to manipulate me. She's sleeping in her car, Tiffany. All her cards are frozen. That's not my problem. You're really going to let your sister be homeless? My sister? I laughed bitterly. My sister died the day she decided to sleep with my husband. After hanging up, I found Willie still watching the news coverage. They'll come after your company next, he warned. Try to smear you in the press. Right on cue, my assistant rushed in. Luna's giving an interview on Channel 4. She's saying things. We turned up the volume. Luna, looking perfectly disheveled in designer clothes, was crying prettily for the cameras. My sister's company used predatory practices, she was saying. She deliberately tried to destroy my career out of jealousy. She couldn't stand seeing Lucas and me happy. Willie muted the TV. Want me to handle this? No. I picked up my phone. I'll do it myself. I dialed my PR team and put them on speaker. Release the documentation. All of it. The design theft evidence, my PR director asked. The cease and desist letters. Everything, including the security footage of her paying our seamstress to steal samples. Hannah gasped. You had footage? I always keep receipts. I turned to Willie. Can you call in that favor from the fashion blog network? He smiled wickedly. Already done. They're running the exposé in an hour. By evening, Luna's interview had backfired spectacularly. The fashion blogs were running detailed timelines of her design theft attempts. Social media was flooded with side-by-side comparisons of my designs and her original pieces. Daniel called as I was leaving the office. Lucas is trying to claim ignorance of the fraud, he said, blaming his CFO. Will it work? No. I gave the feds everything I had. Emails, meeting recordings, all of it. I stopped walking. You recorded him? Started the day he left you. I knew this would end badly. He paused. I just didn't know how badly. My phone buzzed with another text from my mother. Luna's here. She's hysterical. Please call me. I showed the message to Hannah, who had stayed late to support me. Don't you dare, she warned. I wasn't going to. I put my phone away. They made their bed. Speaking of beds, Hannah said carefully, she really is sleeping in her car. No, she isn't. She's at Mom's being consoled and coddled like always. As if to prove my point, another text from Mom arrived. She's sleeping in your old room, please, sweetheart. She needs her big sister. I deleted the message without responding. You know what the funny thing is? I said to Hannah as we left the office. A year ago, this would have destroyed me. Now? I looked at the city lights, at my company's name on the building, at everything I'd built from the ashes of their betrayal. Now it just feels like karma finally showed up to collect. The knock on my door came at midnight. I knew it was Luna before I even checked the security camera. Only she would have this kind of timing. She looked terrible. Designer clothes wrinkled, makeup smeared, holding a Louis Vuitton suitcase that had seen better days. Mom kicked me out, she said when I opened the door. I leaned against the doorframe. Why? Because I sold her jewelry to pay my lawyer. Her voice cracked. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice, Luna. You just keep making bad ones. She pushed past me into my apartment. I have nowhere else to go. That sounds like a you problem, but I closed the door anyway. Why did you really come here? Because you're my sister. She collapsed onto my couch. Because you're the only one who always figured things out. Until you destroyed that too. I know, she started crying. I know I ruined everything, but I loved him, Tiffany. I really did. Where is he now? Staying with some college friend. She wiped her eyes. He won't return my calls. My phone buzzed. Hannah, you okay? Security called, said Luna showed up. I'm fine, I texted back, handling it. Luna was staring at my living room wall, covered in framed magazine covers featuring my designs. You really made it, didn't you? No thanks to you. I was jealous, she admitted quietly. You were always the successful one, the smart one. I just wanted... What? My life, my husband? To be like you. She met my eyes, but I couldn't build something of my own, so I took yours instead. Willie's call interrupted whatever I was about to say. Turn on the news, he said without preamble. They're arresting Lucas. Luna scrambled for the remote. There he was, being led out of his friend's house in handcuffs, looking nothing like the polished executive he'd once been. Oh God, Luna whispered. This is really happening. The FBI found offshore accounts, Willie continued. He was hiding millions. Luna's name is on some of them. I looked at my sister, suddenly understanding her presence. You knew. She shrank back. Tiffany, you knew about the accounts, and you came here because you think I'll protect you. Please, she begged. I didn't understand what he was doing. He just told me to sign things. Like you didn't understand what you were doing when you slept with my husband. My phone rang again. Daniel this time. The feds want to talk to Luna, he said when I answered. They're offering a deal if she cooperates. I put the phone on speaker. Tell her, Daniel, she's here. Luna listened as Daniel explained the deal. Immunity in exchange for testimony against Lucas. He'll hate me, she whispered. He already does, Daniel said bluntly. He's been telling everyone you were the mastermind. She crumpled, finally breaking completely. I never meant... I just wanted to be important, I finished. To be special, to have what I had. She nodded miserably. Call your lawyer, I said, surprising myself. Take the deal. You're helping me? She looked up, mascara streaking her cheeks. Why? Because unlike you, I actually understand what family means. I walked to my desk and wrote down a number. This is my lawyer's contact. He'll help coordinate with the feds. I don't deserve this. No, you don't. I handed her the paper. But maybe hitting rock bottom will finally teach you something about consequences. Willie called again. The press knows Luna's involved. They'll be at your building by morning. Already? I watched Luna making calls in my guest room. Your doorman tipped them off. Want me to handle it? I thought about my sister, about karma, about choices and consequences. No, I decided. Let them come. After hanging up, I found Luna standing in my doorway. The lawyers want to meet tomorrow, she said. I don't have anywhere to stay. The guest room is made up. I pointed down the hall. But Luna, yes? This is temporary, and it comes with conditions. Anything. You'll tell the complete truth. About everything, the fraud, the design theft, all of it. She nodded slowly. And when this is over, you'll get a real job. No more influencer games, no more riding coattails. I don't know how to do anything else, she admitted. Then you'll learn, like I did, the hard way. My phone buzzed one final time. My mother. Is Luna with you? Please take care of her. I showed Luna the message. Funny how she never sent messages like this about me. I'm sorry, Luna whispered, for everything. I know. I headed to my room. But sorry doesn't fix things, Luna. Actions do. Will you ever forgive me? I paused at my door. Ask me again when you've earned it. The conference room felt too small for all the tension it contained. Lucas sat at one end of the table, his lawyer beside him. Luna sat at the other, looking anywhere but at him. I was there because both their lawyers thought I might help negotiate a settlement. This is a waste of time, Lucas snapped. She betrayed me. That's rich coming from you, Luna shot back. You told the FBI I masterminded everything. You pushed me to take those risks. And you pushed me to steal Tiffany's designs. Luna's voice cracked. We both did terrible things. I cleared my throat. If you're done with the blame game, can we focus on why we're here? Lucas's lawyer stepped in. My client is willing to take full responsibility for the financial fraud, provided Ms. Luna cooperates in returning certain assets. What assets? I asked. The offshore accounts, Luna's lawyer explained. Lucas claims they were set up without his knowledge. Lucas laughed bitterly. You knew exactly what you were doing. All those shopping sprees, the house, the cars. Where did you think the money came from? You told me the firm was doing well. Luna's mascara was starting to run. You said we deserved it. Enough. I stood up. You both knew what you were doing. You both chose to do it anyway. Now, deal with the consequences. My phone buzzed, a text from Willie. The press is outside. Handle this fast. Lucas noticed my phone, already alerting the media. The media's been here, I said coldly. They're very interested in how the mighty have fallen. Luna started crying. I'll sign whatever you want. Just make this stop. It's too late for that, her lawyer said gently. But cooperation will help your case. Lucas stood suddenly. This is all your fault, Tiffany. If you hadn't been so successful, so perfect, Luna wouldn't have... Careful, I cut him off. Your prison sentence depends on what happens in this room. He deflated, sinking back into his chair. I lost everything. No, I corrected. You threw everything away. There's a difference. The lawyers exchanged documents while Luna continued crying and Lucas stared at the wall. My phone buzzed again. Hannah this time. How's it going? She texted. Like watching a car crash in slow motion, I replied. Want me to bring wine later? Bring the whole liquor store. Luna's voice pulled me back to the room. I'll tell them everything, she was saying. About the accounts, the fraud, all of it. Lucas's face hardened. Then I'll tell them about the design theft, the corporate espionage. Go ahead, I interrupted. I've already provided the FBI with all that evidence. They both stared at me. What evidence? Luna whispered. Everything. Security footage, bank transfers, all the documentation of your little schemes. I smiled without warmth. I learned to keep receipts. Lucas turned to his lawyer. Can we have the room? The lawyers looked at me. I nodded, and they filed out. Why are you really here, Tiffany? Lucas asked once we were alone. Because despite everything, I wanted to see if either of you had changed. I looked between them. Clearly, I was wrong. Luna reached for my hand. I pulled away. Please, she begged, tell me how to fix this. You can't fix it, but you can face it. I stood up. Take the deals, tell the truth, start over. Easy for you to say, Lucas muttered. You're on top of the world. I'm on top of the world because I built something real. I walked to the door. Try it sometime. As I opened the door, my mother was standing there. I heard about the meeting, she said. I came to support Luna. Of course you did. I stepped aside. She's all yours. Tiffany, wait. My mother grabbed my arm. Can't we just be a family again? I looked at Luna, still crying. At Lucas, defeated and angry. At my mother, desperately trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. We stopped being a family the day these two decided their happiness was worth more than mine. I gently removed her hand. Now we're just people who share DNA. You're being cruel, my mother said. No, I'm being honest. You should try it sometime. I walked out, leaving them with their lawyers and their consequences. In the lobby, Willie was waiting. Well, he asked, they're taking the deals. I pushed through the revolving doors into a sea of cameras and reporters. Any comment on your sister's involvement in the fraud? Someone shouted. How do you feel about your ex-husband's arrest? I stopped at the top of the steps, cameras flashing. The truth always comes out, I said clearly, and karma always collects. As the reporters erupted with more questions, I felt my phone buzz one final time. A message from Daniel. You did the right thing. Dinner tonight. I smiled, finally feeling lighter. Yes, I typed back. I think I've earned a celebration. The morning newspaper landed on my desk with a thud. Hannah pointed to the headline. Fashion Empire CEO Tiffany acquires rival brand in historic deal. Not bad for someone who started in a spare bedroom, she grinned. Have you seen the other headlines? Willie walked in, tablet in hand. Former Securities CEO Lucas sentenced to 15 years. They're calling it the fraud of the decade. I pushed both articles aside. Any word from Luna? She started her community service yesterday, Daniel said, joining us. Working at a women's shelter of all places. The irony wasn't lost on any of us. Your mother called my office again, Willie mentioned. She wants to discuss a family reconciliation. Still trying to fix what can't be fixed, I muttered. My assistant knocked and entered. Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here to see you. Says she won't leave without talking to you. I expected my mother. Instead, Luna walked in wearing plain clothes and no makeup, a far cry from her influencer days. Can we talk? She asked quietly. Please. Hannah squeezed my shoulder as everyone filed out, leaving us alone. You look different, I said. The shelter doesn't allow designer clothes. She managed a small smile. Actually, they don't allow much of what I used to think was important. Why are you here? To give you this. She placed an envelope on my desk. It's everything I have left. The money from selling my clothes, jewelry, everything. It's not much, but I opened the envelope. What's this for? Restitution. For the designs I stole, the damage I caused. She met my eyes. I know it doesn't fix anything, but it's a start. Keep it, I said, sliding the envelope back. Use it to build something real this time. I don't deserve your kindness. This isn't kindness, it's investment in your redemption. I leaned forward. Prove me right. My phone buzzed. A news alert about Lucas's sentencing. Luna saw it too. I visited him yesterday, she said. He still blames everyone but himself. And you? I blame myself. Every day. She twisted her hands together. The shelter director says that's actually progress. A knock at the door interrupted us. Willie again. Sorry, but the board is waiting for the acquisition meeting. Luna stood to leave. I should go anyway. My shift starts soon. Luna? I called as she reached the door. How's Mom taking all this? She's struggling. Still wants everything to go back to how it was. Luna paused. I told her it never can, that maybe it shouldn't. After she left, Willie studied me carefully. You okay? Actually, yes. I picked up the acquisition papers. Let's go make history. The boardroom was packed with executives and lawyers when we arrived. As I took my seat at the head of the table, Hannah slipped me a note. Karma's not just a bitch, she's the CEO. I smiled, then addressed the room. Let's talk about the future. Later that evening, I found Daniel waiting in my office. Heard about Luna's visit, he said. You're a better person than most. Not better, just clearer about what matters. I gathered my things. Dinner? Actually, I had something else in mind. He handed me an envelope. Open it. Inside was a deed to a small storefront, the same one I'd dreamed of owning when I first started my business. It came on the market yesterday, he explained. I thought maybe it could be your first flagship store. Daniel, you built an empire from nothing, Tiff, but everyone needs a reminder of where they started. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Luna. The shelter needs business clothes for women returning to work. Any chance your company could help? I showed Daniel the message. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm thinking about karma, second chances, and the difference between revenge and justice. I typed back, send me the details. Let's build something good out of all this. Daniel smiled. Willie was right about you. About what? Success really is the best revenge. No, I corrected, looking around at everything I'd built, everything I'd become. Success isn't revenge at all. It's liberation. We walked out together, past the wall of magazine covers, past the awards and accolades, past all the symbols of what I'd achieved. But it was the small framed photo on my desk that caught my eye, the one of me in my spare bedroom, surrounded by fabric samples and dreams. Ready? Daniel asked. I picked up my bag, leaving the newspapers and their headlines behind. Ready. Because in the end, it wasn't about revenge or karma or even justice. It was about building something stronger than betrayal, something more powerful than hurt. It was about becoming someone who didn't need revenge anymore. And that, I realized, was the greatest victory of all.